away.
Aloha, everybody. Welcome to BearsWave.com podcast. Coming to you from Bears' 25th floor surf shack, overlooking Waikiki Beach. So wax up your surfboards and paddle out for another great BearsWave.com podcast. We got the best guests in the world in the house today. We got my arch rival, one of my best friends in the world, Mark Gale, and his beautiful wife, Debbie. How you doing, Mark?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Bear. I'm sort of shocked you brought me here today. I didn't think you had enough nerve to do this.
You guys get ready. I mean, seriously, guys, strap on your safety belts because it could be a wild ride. Speaking of which, there's great surf out there today. Did you get out today?
Oh, yeah. We got out yesterday evening. The surf was a lot better than this morning with the minus tide. So we hit fin 3 times this morning, but... you know, you can't surf in a better place than this.
Yeah, we had great surf out there at Queens Beach just now. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but my daughter, Vaughn, is here and she's shooting a little bit, and she's our local groupie, and she's doing a behind-the-scenes shoot. She's an artist from Santa Fe. On microphone number 2, we got what?
Shane Woznick. What's up, guys?
The Shane Woznick. You guys, you can see all of his videos on bearswave.com, and on what's your other video websites?
We got 2 new videos up right now. We got the NBA cheerleader, and we got Daryl Mansfield up to check those
dudes. We got NBA cheerleader, the oldest cheerleader in the NBA. Tandem serving with me. She's 42. She's doing, really beautiful lifts. And then we got Daryl Mansfield, the Hall of Fame blues harmonica player. His podcast has just been on, but now we've got 2 YouTube videos up, kind of behind the scene, 3-minute YouTube videos of that. And so we're going to start out by talking about our sponsors. We got 2 great sponsors. We love our Onnit.com. And now when you go to Onnit.com, and what is it? You scroll down in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see my name, Bear Woznick.
Yeah, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a bunch of names, and one of them will be Bear Woznick.
And you click on that.
Halfway down. And click on that, and you can read some quotes that you said on the podcast.
About how great Onnit is.
It's pretty neat. They took your quotes from the podcast and just put it right on their website.
Yeah, and then we've got some of, and all my tweets go on there. So, hey, you guys can follow the tweets at bearswave.com. Shane, what's your tweet address?
At Shane Woznick.
And they won't let Mark have one, I suppose. Mark's not tweeting, but you know what? I'll tell you what.
I don't tweet.
His YouTube videos are fantastic. Mark and Debbie. Oh, we got to get a microphone on Debbie next podcast. But Debbie,
I'll just climb on Shane's lap.
Yeah, you're used to standing on people's shoulders, but not sitting in their laps. Debbie and Mark have the best YouTube video. What's the best way for them to find a Mark Gale and Debbie Gale video? Is there a basic?
Yeah, the basic search. You just go Mark Tandem Surfing, and it'll bring up 33 videos. I think we got 33 videos.
You guys, I think, have the most. I think you guys have like the most popular videos, like thousands. And I think we do. We're pretty successful too. But they love your videos. And what I like about Mark and Debbie, they're posting them all the time. Wherever you guys go, you look like you're having too much fun.
Well, Debbie keeps renting me out, so
yeah.
I got a lot of videos on there with like you, with ladies and people wanting to learn how to tandem surf and giving it a try. So,
well, you know what? I'm going to give you a hint, Mark, because you're a conditioned athlete, and our product Onnit.com is so amazing. Joe Rogan kind of turned us on to it. Onnit.com has several products that we really like. The basic product that we really love is Alpha Brain, and you can tell how brilliant I am. Could you notice? No, but what it does is Alpha Brain is nootropics. It's basically vitamins for your brain.
Yeah.
You love it, Shane?
It helps out. It's vitamins for your brain. It's a cognitive enhancing supplement. So it helps your brain, the synapses run smoother, so you can speak faster and come out, more smoothly. Unlike what I'm doing right now.
No, you're doing great. I mean,
I'm nervous every time I do it.
No, what it's like is when you're thinking of what is that word I want, the word's there, or there's clarity. It's not speeding you up. It's clarity.
No, I thought you said Alpha Brand at first, and when you said things come out, I was really starting to wonder you had my attention.
So Alpha Brain is one of their great products, and I take one of their vitamins in the morning and one in the afternoon. You know what's cool about Alpha Brain? If you take it late in the day, like around 4 o'clock, like 6 hours before you go to sleep, when you go to sleep, it's not unusual for you to have lucid dreams, where you're dreaming and you're aware that you're dreaming, and you can say, hey, I think I'll dream about this instead of that. It's gnarly. It's great.
I do the same thing with beer and Jack.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, and what are the substances in there? So, and then the other thing that they have, but this was I thought you would really like.
Yeah.
And don't tell anybody else. They have this supplement called their Sport Shrooms supplement. It's a mushroom that they discovered down in South America. And I'll tell you, it's tripled the amount, the length. When you're doing endurance or power workouts, it's tripled my endurance. Like I used to go out for 3.5 miles at a time on the beach. Now I can do 9 miles on my beach workouts. It just what it does is it
Wait a
gets.
minute, 9 miles of downwind, or are you going?
No,
what
I'm
are you
walking.
doing?
I'm
Oh,
walking. I'm
bike
shuffling
riding?
really slow in the sand.
You go out on the sand.
No,
and
but
walk
I do.
9
I do this.
miles?
I do the sand at least 7 miles a day. Well, what I do is I try to do 7 miles a day of something.
Yeah.
But usually I'm getting 7 miles on the beach and maybe several miles in the water too.
So that basically what you're saying is the same thing we hear on the coastline is you should be getting an hour a day at least of cardio exercise.
I'm doing about 3 hours.
3.
Yeah, because I do it slow. No, but the sport, I don't even think about, because I'll go out and I'll forget to take a couple of them before I go, and my workout's cut down. I go, why am I tired? Or why do I not go back already? I'm like, oh, I forgot to take my. What the shroom does is it gets more oxygen to your muscle, so it's nothing like this souped up adrenaline or caffeine or anything like that. Just a great thing. So, Onnit.com. Shane, what do they do when they go to Onnit?
Go to onnit.com. You can get enter the promo code BearsWave, and you get 10% off your next purchase on Alpha Brain. And the first 30 pills, if you don't like it, you can send. We'll send you money back, or they'll send your money back guaranteed. 100% money back guaranteed. You don't even have to send them back. So
Well, every morning, what do we do, Shane, when we're having coffee? We're taking
our Alpha Brain
and all the other vitamins,
Yeah.
right? But you know what I'm doing now? I ordered their Vibrants, their vitamin packets. So they dissolve, because you know what you do when you're going to take vitamins. What you want to do in the morning is drink a full glass of water, and then you want to take your vitamins and your supplements, because then it goes right into your system. So you have this nutrient density that just flows right into your blood. So what we're doing is we have our morning water, then we have our morning nutrients, and then we have our morning caffeine, which my daughter Fawn lives on, right? Do you live on it? Yeah, baby. So she pretty much lives on caffeine. So so that's our Onnit.com sponsor. We love our sponsor. We love Onnit.com. We love their products, and you can't go wrong trying them, because if you don't like it, you just say I don't like it, and they give you your money back. You don't have to send the vitamins back or anything.
That sounds
Yeah.
like a good deal. I got
Yeah.
my own microphone now. She's
Yeah,
tired
so
of me
we
climbing on
love
his
Debbie
lap.
so much. We got our microphone ready. Shane was like embarrassed when Debbie was climbing on his lap. Isn't Shane amazing?
He was really fast there.
He puts his whole podcast together, makes it look easy, man. He just edited my whole audio book.
Yeah, I just got
7
done doing
hour.
that. That was such. Every time you breathed, I had to cut that out.
Yeah.
So it was like, but we did. It sounds really good.
Well, you did it. You made it. He makes it all look easy. He makes it sound great. Our other.
How's he making that car horn sound out there?
Yeah, that's we have to pay them to do that. Out there.
Okay.
Well,
I was
and
gonna say.
our other sponsor,
Good job.
is surfnewsnetwork.com. So if people in San Clemente, you guys are in San Clemente, right?
Yeah, we're right around the corner from a couple, like Swell.com and Surfline.com and a few. So this one sounds new to me. What's
Well,
the
Surf
story
News
on
Network
this?
is Gary Cooley's network here in Hawaii. So you can, if you want to check out the surf in Hawaii and you want to check out the surf in Waikiki, go to surfnewsnetwork.com, go to surf cams, go to the Waikiki surf cam. Guess what? That surf cam's looking out our window.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the living room window. So it looks right out at Publix.
All right, so one more time. Where is that website?
It's surfnewsnetwork.com.
Okay.
And you go to the Waikiki, you go to the webcams, you go to the Waikiki webcam, and that's us. So if you're what's the most remote place in the world that you've been?
Most remote. I'm going to go with probably Leo Carrillo Secos.
Oh, Leo Carrillo. If you're in Leo Carrillo and you want to know what the surf is, by the way,
Fun song
I'm
too.
glad you corrected yourself and said
Yeah,
Secas.
said Secas.
We don't
Awesome.
call it Leo Carrillo.
Fist, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fist bump.
County line, going up there. Those people live
Okay,
in a whole nother
that
world.
that is remote. That was our home break too. Yeah, that was where Fawn won her high school championship surfing contest. So yeah, if you're in County Line and you're Wally Espithus in County Line, all the dudes at Neptune's Net, and you want to know what the surf is like in Waikiki, go to surfnewsnetwork.com. But
So,
now
do we have an Android app or an iPad app for that?
we're getting for Surf News Network.
Yeah.
Not yet, but we're working on one for my book, by the way. Today was so that's kind of it for our all of our commercials, right, Shane? Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I had the greatest day today. I got to talk to the people from Clean Break. You guys don't even know about what's happening with Clean Break. It's the most
This is the last
coolest,
advertisement.
coolest show. It's going to start on June 13th, and we brought 3 guys out from California in their late 20s and early 30s who were kind of needing to figure some things out in their lives, right? About what they really wanted. We brought them out here with Fuel TV, and we took them into harm's way.
Wait.
We threw them out of airplanes. We made them surf big waves. What, Mark?
We could have volunteered our kids for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to check
Mark
somebody out
wanted
of
to
a
do it.
plane?
Mark wanted to do it.
I can think of a few people to
Well,
check
we didn't
out
have
of a
any
plane.
choice, but so Peter Isaacson from Fuel TV brings these 3 guys out here, and we got to meet them the very first day. They stayed in a house on the North Shore, and then they went over to Maui, and all the great watermen of Hawaii just took them into the most gnarliest places. And they were doing rock climbing. They were flying down mountains on bicycles and doing ATV in Maui and zip lining and surfing big waves and rock running with Archie Kalepa. Kimo Miranda's got them out there riding big waves in the North Shore. And the world's best spearfishing girl is out here in Makaha taking them out deep, holding their breath
Yeah,
underwater.
and the photography in the show, as being a photographer, a videographer myself, is so good. Like, they're just on top of it.
Hey.
And it's so clean. They filmed with Red, so it's all in HD. Like, real,
The best
real clean
cameras.
HD.
There was more reds on
I
the
can't
island.
wait till it shows up on iTunes. You know?
I was going to ask, where do we see it?
Okay, well, right now, if you look at Clean Break, I think it's, if you just Google Clean Break, Fuel TV, Fox, I forget the website. I actually had it up earlier. Let me check and see. I'll tell you. Keep talking, you guys. Hold
Okay.
Okay, talk.
Well, while Bear's taking a look for the website,
Here it is. Oh.
Tell us about your website.
I don't have a
Shane,
website. It's
just-
called Facebook.
Shane, why don't you Google it? Clean Break, Fuel TV, Fox. But the cool thing about it is that it starts June 13th, and the episode running June 13th, and you won't believe the cool people we have. I mean, we got Chase, who was a stuntman in Hollywood, fell in love. They had a baby. He became a father at home, raised the children while his wife worked, and he's kind of in that place in his life where he's wondering, do we want to have another baby? Do I want to go out and be a stuntman? He's really wonderful, God, just a great-hearted man. Then you have a guy named Steve. He's a pharmaceutical salesman, really successful, but not so sure that's what he wants to pursue with his life. And we had Luke. I can't tell you his last name, but his brother is one of the greatest football players in the NFL, and he's kind of trying to find his clean break. So we take them out. We take them to a place where they kind of have that, I don't know if you say breakdown or breakthrough, but we take them out and give them some adventure.
So I got to ask you a question. I can see what's going on here. I'll just
Yeah.
ask you a question since people probably want to know. So when you tell people who you are, do you list your job or do you tell them what?
I tell them I'm Mark Gale's best friend and enemy.
Well,
That defines me.
yeah, it sounds like Clean Break. Yeah, it sounds like Clean Break. It's pretty much the same idea that
It's your life.
Yeah, in California, we really don't want to classify ourselves by what we do for a living.
Yeah, but how? Yeah, exactly. I don't
You
tell
don't
people. I
wanna
never
do
tell
it.
people what I do
You know,
as a job.
I try not to tell people what I do.
We're
for
going
a
to get
living,
into it
but-
though. You
but
got to
not.
let it. No, you have to let us get into that. Okay. I'm got it on my-
No, we don't talk
No,
about
it's
work.
too bad because
we
you're
talk
on
about
live
who
TV,
we
you're on
are.
live radio. But so that's that. So I got to talk to the Clean Break people today, and then the public relations persons on the book Deep in the Wave called me today. We're ratcheting that up, Shane, and they need some video from you for the Spellbinder conference with John Travolta on Labor Day weekend. The video that you did with the 2 girls.
Yeah.
They want that up on their website.
Yeah,
So all of a sudden
that's gonna be
today,
real
June
fun.
1st, the first week of June, everything just kind of popped. But that's enough about all that stuff. Let's talk about our guests. Our victim for the day. He can't.
Victim.
Hey, Mark.
You're the victim.
You probably don't remember when we first met, but I do.
We were trying to fight.
No, that was minutes later.
I'm thinking it was probably up at Malibu.
No, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. No, actually, when we almost went at it with Steve Torres filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we almost did. I knew one thing for sure
Pretty
that
close to almost.
if we went fist to fist, we both would have been in the hospital. I don't think there's any doubt that
Were we in front of the judges?
it would have been that
stand?
Rocky scene at the last
Yeah.
where they both swing at the same time.
I'm trying to think. It wasn't Santa Cruz.
No,
I'm
that was
thinking-
Malibu. But the first time I
was
saw you, you
Malibu.
won't remember because you were a rock star and I was in the judges' tower.
So you were the judge who wanted to kill.
No, it wasn't me, because well, maybe I was, but I'll tell you what, Mike Spence
Yeah.
was in the tower. Our beautiful,
We
beautiful
love
brother. Who's made. Do you remember Mike Spence, Fawn? Do you know he's gone now? He basically died surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had an incident in the water,
About
and
2 years ago.
Yeah, he was out. Mike was out doing stand up, and he fell down on the board and caught the paddle on the neck and basically cracked a vertebrae. So he went in for a surgery that was. It's a little bit risky, but my sister's had it. A lot of people at work have had it. He got through the surgery. He was at home recovering in bed. He was a pretty large guy, so he already had
the
a breathing
surfing
problem.
Santa, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called him. He loved to be
And,
called that. Big beard, white hair.
So he woke up in the middle of the night, said I couldn't breathe, and that was it.
Yeah, we love Michael. And, Michael, we'll talk more about him, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But all I know is I'm sitting in the judge's tower next to Michael Spence. He knew I had no domestic skills, so he always brought me coffee. And the early morning judge's tower where I'm wearing my Malibu Surf Association jacket, got the Ugg boots on. The fog has just burned off. And out of the fog and into the bog comes this massive man
A huge
with a
mountain of a
massive
man.
surfboard. And it's
Yeah.
Mark Gale.
Oh,
And I'm
I
like,
thought you were talking about Spence.
no, and I'm like, what's that? Oh, is he going to longboard on that? What is that? I don't say that out loud.
Well,
Five minutes later, who do you think walks down to the beach? If he were making a movie, who would it be?
That'd be Baney.
It would be Steve Bainey. Steve
Yeah.
Bainey walks, our mentor who taught us all how to tandem. Even though he's not that much older than us, he's like the father of father figures to us all.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Steve's about 10 years older than I am.
But he's like,
But he looks like he's about 10 years younger than I am.
but I mean, to me, Steve is like, he's mentored me a lot in my life as well as just in surf. So Steve walks on, and he's got this big board. I'm like, who's that, and why does he have a big board? And I go over to Michael and I go, is there going to be a tandem contest? And he goes, yeah. Well, who's judging it? You and me are. And I'm like, well, how do you judge it? And he goes, if it looks hard and it looks pretty, and give him a good score.
Yeah.
And that was the moment when after you guys all surfed, and it was unbelievable. I had seen people stand on people's shoulders at Santa Cruz
Yeah.
when I was a kid and hadn't seen it in 30 years. And then here you guys go, and the beautiful Debbie and you guys just did this, and the Siskars were there,
Yeah.
and Bobby Friedman was there, and
Hey, Bobby
Anna.
was there? So, okay.
And so here's the thing. I won't exactly name names, but once, as your teams came into the beach, I think it was the Brazilian woman, or was she Peruvian?
Peruvian. Johanna's Peruvian.
Well, we're not naming names, but Johanna Siskar
Yeah.
took a swing at one of the other tandem guys, not you. And and I look over at Mike, and Mike looks over at me, and he goes,
Was it a haymaker?
"It was a haymaker.
Haymaker?
It was a haymaker."
Yeah, you could see it coming, but still, it was.
But Michael
it was,
looked at me, and
you know.
did she connect? I think she connected.
No. He's
No.
ducked
Oh, yeah,
really
he
good.
blocked it.
Blocked and ducked.
And that's when she got hurt, when she hit his block. But you know what? Mike looks over at me, and I look at him, and he goes, well, tandem drama. What do you expect? A man and a woman on the same surfboard.
Mike, I got to add one more commentary on Mike. We show up at Seikos, and he had just, anytime anybody ever asked him to come do something, he did it.
He did
The
it.
day before he got out of the hospital as a cancer survivor, he had a huge hole in his chest, and he's got this bandage over it, and we're looking like, he goes, yeah, look at this, and you could put a golf ball in there. He goes, it was cancer. They took it out. I go, what are you doing here today? I said I'd be here. I'm gonna be here.
Yeah, it's Michael.
You know.
Do you know he was a rodeo cowboy?
Yeah.
We did. We found that out at the funeral.
Yeah, there's so much about him we didn't know.
He held, I think it was Long Beach,
Well-
the rope climbing thing, and it's still,
Still the
I
current
believe
rope.
it's still the current
Rope climb.
And
no,
he
rope
wa-
climbing.
Hand over hand
He
rope
was
climbing.
also a gymnast.
And then that's right. And he also was he was a
Golfer.
rocker. He was a rocker, so that's one of the best longboard judges in California. He was a golfer.
Yeah.
He was also
An author.
a Pac-10. Yeah, he was an author, and you can still get his book on Amazon.com. Michael Spence.
Yeah.
Tandem surfing. I forget the exact name of it, but just look up Michael Spence.
But if you look at in history, a lot of the people that are involved with this sport, like Velzy, most people didn't know that Velzy was also in horseback
He was a
or
cowboy,
equestrian.
man.
He also did street riding, and at his
What's
funeral,
street riding?
Basically hot rods, building hot rods.
He was the-
high-powered vehicles.
Velzy's the one that said you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him surf. And he's also the one that invented the word bitchin',
Oh, I
Really?
believe that.
according to surf history. Yeah.
Wow.
I saw it in writing, so I think it's true.
Yeah, and my wife believes the same thing. If it's in writing,
it's
if it's in writing, it's got to be true. And I'm like, oh. So I put things in writing now and hand them to her.
Yeah. So come on now. Okay, now we want to talk about.
If I could spell.
We want to go back in time now and talk about Mark Gale. And Debbie, you can fill in the blanks whenever you want to. I just want to know what. Okay, I want to start. We have to go. We don't.
You want a brief history of how we got here?
No, I don't. We don't have to go back to your conception.
Not that far.
I want to know what your favorite things were to do on Tuesday and Thursday nights when you were a kid at home.
Oh, well, there was Gilligan's Island, which was pretty good, and I don't know. I still went with Ginger over Marianne.
But I'm talking about what you did with wasn't Thursday night reloading night?
Yes.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah, if we were in the living room, we spent Thursday, well, actually Tuesday and Thursday, because on Wednesday and Sunday we shot guns at this local gun club. So every Tuesday and Thursday we would sit in the living room reloading.
Didn't you sometimes take shots at targets in the fireplace? Yes or no?
Yes.
Inquiring minds. And you should see Debbie. She's just lit up over here.
Yes,
You have
that's
to tell them
true.
when
We
you-
use the fireplace as a backdrop for testing ammunition.
And
He also worked as the pull boy. What do you call that when they say pull?
The skeet
Oh,
guys.
my very first job was on the skeet range as a trap boy.
That sounds
trap
right.
boy.
Trap boy.
You weren't like.
Do you know how many times I've
but
been shot?
You weren't wearing short shorts, picking up tennis balls when they would miss the net. You were You were doing the skeet. You were where the guns were, and you're like 12 years old.
No, I'm out in front in that little house where all the guns are aiming at.
Oh no!
And,
the buried house.
The buried house.
Yeah.
I'd be out there,
Oh,
right,
God.
with the. And now this is back in the hills of Brea. We're talking snakes, tarantulas,
Yeah.
And many times people would come up there and they'd pull the trigger a little too quick and blast that house. And I'd be in there.
Yeah. So that's when you first learned how to duck. So you didn't have to. So if anybody throws a haymaker at you, you know no one's going to hit you. You know
Somebody tried to hit me with a Hummer here once.
What? When was that? I was trying. When were you? When you guys were over here?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
on the sidewalk. We didn't see you coming. All
I'm
of a
in my
sudden,
Hummer.
you came up the
Yeah.
driveway and across the sidewalk.
Very, very slowly though.
It was fast
Yeah.
enough that Mark was trying to drag me out of
I
the
did
way.
not. You didn't know it was me.
I didn't know it was.
And I
Mark
didn't want. I didn't
recognized.
want to hurt my Hummer with his butt.
Okay, all right. We did something here on the last trip we've never done. And I've never rented an exotic car.
Oh.
So on our last trip out here to go see Christian and Amy, we rent this little fast hot rod, an Audi TT convertible, wonderful car. My mistake. This is an island. There's no place to get that thing up to
You can't.
speed.
I used to have a Corvette here, man. Now I drive a Hummer, and you know what? I go nice and slow, and I cruise and go slowly over. But I had brought my Corvette out here, and then I bought
Yeah.
another one out here. Yeah, you can't go over
I
45.
never got it opened up ever.
No, you can't.
You know?
But you know who does have it? If you end up doing this with us, I think we're going to go to Detroit right after the Cocoa Beach event.
Yeah.
We're going to go up to see the NBA cheerleader Curtis Goff and his wife Pamela Maria, and we're going to do high performance like Lamborghinis on a closed track. That's their business. So you can rent a car, and they put a driver in with you, and they teach you how to do it.
What if
And
you
then they
crash
run
it?
Well, they have a driver. He's probably like learning to fly a plane. They can probably push a brake pedal or something. But you have a guide with you while you're driving on these fast
No,
tracks.
that's
Yeah.
Disneyland
But
when
it's
they
a
can
closed
push the
track.
pedal and save
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So So you bought this. You got this really fancy Audi, and you could
So-
never go above 45.
Yeah, going over the North Shore, never got it up to speed. Christian and Amy invited us to spend the night. I'm thinking like, well, I want to go. It's late at night. I want to go open this baby up on the road.
Yeah, that's the way to do
So
it.
we decided we're not going to come back on the freeway. We're going to take this nice little windy S
We know
curve.
that. That's the one that you rode
You
your
know.
bicycle up, Shane.
Yep.
Right?
So we
Yeah.
take off, and still there ain't enough room. Everybody's going about 35 miles an hour on this windy road, and I'm just like, wanting to hit the paddle shifters on the steering wheel.
You never got to.
Well, I played with them a little bit, but never got to open that
Well, you
thing
know, in
up.
Hawaii, we have the worst drivers in America, but we have the friendliest ones. We do. We have the friendliest
I
drivers.
drive in Santa Ana, and it's kind of like Mexico moved up
Well,
there.
you
They
guys
go down
may
the wrong
have
way.
you guys may have bad drivers. We have the slowest drivers,
Yeah.
and we have the friendliest ones. Did you know you can't change lanes in Hawaii unless you roll down the window and do the shaka sign first?
That's what I forgot to do.
You got to do the shaka
So
sign.
now I know where Clay Huntington went wrong in Virginia Beach.
Oh, when you guys went down for that long, when you guys did that 3-hour drive to go see
No, they have laws in Virginia Beach about certain vocabulary words and certain
hand
symbols, hand signals.
Really?
Yeah. Clay found that a little offensive, and thought, being the lawyer that he is, he should challenge that rule.
Did he run over a sign, or did he do it?
No, he just decided to get his picture taken in front of one. We'll have to post that.
I remember something
That's
like that.
pretty cool.
So now, so we know. So we're going to skip over the glossy parts of his youth.
Yeah, so
got
that my
yes.
first job was in a gun club, and that was the family hobby. So to cut a long story short,
you guys used to have a feud, as I recall. Back before your generation, there was a running feud in your family with another family.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it.
No, nothing like that. But the own personal history. My parents, much like Debbie and I, were in agreement that okay, this is the family hobby, but if you want to go do something, we'll support it. So they take my sister to the roller rink, thinking that she would love to do that. Guess who signed up for the roller rink?
Now, how old were you?
Oh, I was in elementary school at the time.
Did you like roller skating, or did you like the girls that were there?
Well, I just liked the roller skating.
Really?
So, so I just did it off and on for fun. Didn't really get involved
How old
in
were
it.
you again?
Oh, it must have been like 12.
In elementary school?
Well, not elementary school, but junior high, whatever.
Okay.
Like 12.
You spent
whatever.
a lot of years in junior high.
So whenever I got the chance, between the family hobby, go get out the skateboard, go to the skate park.
Did you ever
go to
combine the
rink.
two, skateboarding, roller skating, and guns? That could be fun.
Only if you had a high-powered engine. Now you're talking.
Having all the.
And power tools and Jack Daniels. So
You need more
put all
Jack
three
Daniels?
together. No, put it all
We
together.
got more.
So-
He needs more Jack Daniels.
So sit back. I'm going to finish the story real fast. So we get involved in skating. I get involved, and I'm in college now, and skating has not hit yet. It's not the big '80s disco thing yet, but roller rinks are getting fairly popular. So one day I'm out there, and there's this lady, and I pick her up and I put her over my head.
Did someone tell you to do that?
No, I thought she was cute. It was a skating instructor. I thought she was cute. I go, I'll go by. So she says, same thing, just like Bainey did when Tandem Surf came along. I'm like, well, you should show up here on Sunday and we'll give you your chance. She ended up my first partner.
So there was such a thing as lifting women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So back on the roller skating floor, started lifting women, and then finally skating died out, and I got a real job for the electric company, which you're down
We're
to
gonna talk about that,
I ended
too.
up getting a real job for the electric company and just set all that behind me. And then one day, I sort of got like anxious to go back to the rink and see what everybody's doing, and that's where I met Debbie.
And Debbie was pairs roller skating, right?
She was currently doing competitive roller skating, but I ended all that.
Yeah. We got married, and then we got pregnant, and that stopped my career right there on
Was
the
it
roller
like
skating.
Crazy Todd, one shot, one kill?
That's
was,
what Todd
You
said.
made love one more.
That's
one
what
more
Todd
time,
said.
One more baby.
It was the following weekend after we got married on his birthday.
Well, my daughter Fa Marie's in the room.
Oh, well, don't wear garter belts.
And she was conceived 3 months after we were married.
Do you think she wants to know this?
I don't think she wants to know the details. But we did a good job. Look at how beautiful she is.
That's right. It's well worth it.
Yeah, she's beautiful. We're going to have her on the podcast soon, too. So then you guys started doing competitive.
No.
You had babies instead.
So we had kids, and but both of us had basically been involved in a lot of sports, a lot of activity, and suddenly you become a young married couple with kids and parents, and all that gets set aside.
Yeah.
It caused a bit of a rift.
What year was that when you kind of had to semi-retire from your athletic endeavors?
That was probably...
When did you get married?
Well, you had an in-between between the skating and marrying me. You were riding the speedway motorcycles. For
Yeah,
a while,
I got a pro license in the AMA.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
which is how I got the big scars on my leg. So I got a pro license to race flat track. The bikes with no brakes.
Is that okay? That's going around the corners,
Yeah,
It's only-
sideways.
you turn right to go left.
so it's not straight ahead. Yeah, so you're just sliding the whole
Slide
time.
the whole time.
Wow.
So I got a pro license to do that. I did that for 2-3 years on the circuit in California, and racked myself up so bad that I ended up in a wheelchair and a knee brace and surgery. Well, by that time I had
You look
already
at
met
he looks
Debbie.
like his body looks like an amusement park. Huh? He's got so many scars. And
Does look like a shark bit him on the knee.
Yeah, but I want you guys to know I only have 4 bolts. She has 7.
yeah, she's gnarly, huh?
He dropped me. He dropped
No,
me.
he doesn't.
jumped. You jumped.
You jumped. Girls don't get dropped; they jump.
Of course, I have video of you today.
Oh,
actually yesterday.
from yesterday's
Clearly,
surprise Tandem.
clearly
Speaking
that's
of.
clearly that's a drop. I'll have to post that to YouTube.
Oh,
She went limp. That lady went total
she arched
spaghetti
upside
noodle.
down. She
Yeah,
arched upside
and
down.
we saw you trying so hard to get her up over your shoulder, and finally I see you start to do that little shaky thing, and she's just a wet noodle. She had bent in half, upside down, backwards, and she slips out of your arms like a dead fish, head first into the
Do you think
water.
she more like a flopping, kind
Yeah.
of a? But yeah, so I had grabbed
Who
some
was that?
girl. I
We were
grabbed.
time serving with us.
I grabbed some girl off a surfboard
On
from,
a
from the
surfboard,
Big
okay.
Island. Her name was Lonnie. If you listen to this, Lonnie.
The poor girl.
And I said, we're gonna try it. Turn and jump in my arms, and I'm gonna roll you into this swan on my shoulder, where she kind of looks like a bird. And unfortunately, she arched upside down before
Yeah.
I could roll her. But
That's
then
rare.
the next
That
wave,
never
though,
really
she did it.
happens.
Yep,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
made it, but that wave, as I see her going head first, like you're dropping a fish out of a newspaper
Yeah.
on the floor.
The one that got away.
Yeah.
It wasn't a keeper anyway.
It's a cute video. It really,
It's a great
really
video.
is.
I'm going to
That's
post
why
it.
people love your videos, because you don't like just edit out the goofy stuff. A
Oh
lot
no,
of the
we
goofy stuff.
put all the falls
One
in.
of your most popular ones is the one with Talon and me and you.
Beach practice.
One of
I
our,
like
one
that.
of-
I respect that. That's cool.
Beach
one-
practice.
But one of our rules
Yeah.
is we never drink and lift.
No, that's your rule. That's not my rule.
But we drank and lifted that day.
Yeah, but
and
we
it
were
was
in the
no good.
water, so we had a little buffer there.
So we could. Yeah, we were in the water. So we could. So it was pretty silly. We did some pretty, and we were trying to do new lifts, and the girls were ending up
Well-
in the water more than.
Now Debbie just asked to go do that again yesterday when you were
Let's
down at
do
the
it.
beach.
Did
it's-
you?
Did you? Well, what I find interesting is it's easier to do the lifts on land because you
yeah.
don't have that current constantly pushing
Yeah.
you back
Oh,
and
yeah.
forth while you're trying to lift the girl in the shallow
Yeah,
water.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was comical because I was standing on his shoulders, and I look down as a wave goes by, and he's completely underwater.
Yeah,
The
we have to
waves
hold our breath.
And
when
he's
we-
holding his breath.
Yeah,
but it
just
goes
wait for it.
away.
So we're in a shallow area, just offshore, and we're doing our lifts there because it's safer for the girls to
Yeah.
learn new lifts, and it's fun. But it's very challenging. It's kind of harder in a way
'Cause
than
the-
being on a
'cause of that
surfboard
current.
because you're getting your whole body's being pushed, and when the girl jumps, she's jumping out of water.
Yep.
That makes her heavier and all that. But what video is that? What do you call it? Do you remember? Because that's a funny video.
I think it's beach practice.
beach
you know.
practice Waikiki or something.
Yeah. Now, if
Might
you
be
also
a-
notice some of the videos we post, you'll see tandem fail. So I need to do more tandem fail. You know, like if you look at
Are
Beth,
you gonna? I could be your star.
Beth and Alina, you know, both coming down on the board head first.
Yeah, because that's so bad for the surfboard.
Yeah, they put dents in it.
Yeah, it'll be big old dents in the deck.
I've
guys,
dented other
uh,
people's boards too when I fly off the back.
Hey Shane, how do you like my face?
You guys use the GoPro, right?
Yeah, we use the
And they
GoPro.
Isn't
go.
that
Hero.
thing great?
Yeah.
It's too loud. I
The
think.
new one just came out too. It is.
When Shane, when they were surfing next to us, and I was trying to lift that girl, their GoPro camera picked me up on the other board, picked her up, picked
Yep.
up our goofing off. Now that might be too low, Shane.
No, you sound good. Silent,
I'm
silent
just
would be
turning
better.
down your
Best.
earphones.
There you go. Oh, thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So if it's too loud for
Good.
you,
So Shane, what do you think about my face?
yeah, you got hit the other day, huh?
You want to hear about something no one's ever done before?
We talked about this before you even went out to do it.
Well, I went out. I got Jeremiah, one of my other sons, pump-up surfboard from C4.
Yeah.
And I pumped it up. By the way, great tricep workout. I pumped it up, and then I took off the valve.
Yeah, Schrader valve or whatever it is.
I don't know what it is, and then I went to go seal it, but all the air went out. And then I pumped it all up again, and this time I was wise to it, and I caught it where only half the air went out. Well, what it was is that little valve is supposed to pop up as soon as you take off the pump.
Yeah.
And one of the lifeguards told me, so I ended up spraying WD-40, and it works
Yeah.
fine now. But I thought, well, I can't pump this whole thing up again, and I don't know how to make this valve work. So I went out when I had like 300 pounds of pressure. It's supposed to have like 1,600
Yeah.
pounds of pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm paddling out. It feels like one of those floaties. You know, when you go to the wave, it kind of is bending as you're
Yeah.
paddling out. And I go, okay, I'm just going to catch a wave and go in. So I go at little baby queens.
Baby queens, yeah.
I turn around, catching a wave. I go, okay, I'm just going to go to my knee. I go to my knee, and as soon as my knees hit the board, it's like the board just goes boom, boom. I didn't even know what hit me. It's like, whoa, what was that? And the board just bent, hit me in the face, and then went down again. I'm like, what was that? And so I have a little nick on the top of my nose and
Yeah.
one on my lip.
Yeah.
It's a bear sandwich.
But are you leaving my
bear
beautiful
sandwich.
daughter,
I'm-
Fawn? Aloha, Fawn Marie.
I'm going with
Thanks, Fawn.
none of that karate skill came in to help you and do a block.
I
before
blocked
this
it
thing.
with my face.
Your nose. You used your nose before
which
your.
which is one of my favorite ways to block punches.
Just use your face.
Well, I like it when I can block it with my jaw because I have a pretty nose.
Well, now your nose is a bit messed
Now
up.
my nose is no
It's
longer-
got like 3 dents in it and
Yeah.
your upper lip.
It looks like your knees.
Yes, it does.
But now, okay, so let's continue this. So then you had babies.
So what do you want to know, Doctor?
I want to hear about what led up to the moment when I saw this massive guy bring the
Oh,
surfboard.
okay. So we have kids, and like any young marriage where you've had a big change from going from sports to a career, buying houses, trying to get your family life together, which we can name the tandem teams that are going through that right now.
Yes, we can.
So we went off.
Some of whom, by the way, we introduced to each
Yep.
other.
So we know who's going through it out there right now, and no, I'm not doing a cigar right now.
No cigars.
So we
Close. No
so we
cigar.
go off, and one day we're down at the pier, and there's this guy, Kelly. He had to be 300 pounds, and he's nose riding this fast wave at San Clemente Pier. And I look at this board, which was an Infinity, and I go, "Where'd you get this?" And he tells me, and I go over to see Steve at his shop.
Let's just describe. Will you, before you continue?
This guy's
'cause-
nose
No,
riding.
but this is important. Will you describe your husband's physique, so people can picture Mark, how
When?
massive he is, so you know.
Well, Mark, he's about 6'3", but he's got lats that we used to have a tandem bike, but I could never see anything. So when he'd hit the brakes, I'd fly off and smash into the back.
Smash
of him,
into my back.
and then just melt to the ground.
And he's like 230, 235,
Two-
solid
he's
muscle.
down to 230.
I'd like to go like that's 224 for anybody in the ITSA judging.
But I mean, he's a solid big man. So you're seeing a much bigger man riding.
Yeah, so here's this 300-pound guy, and he's making this nose riding at San Clemente Pier, a shortboard break basically. It's fast, and he's just unbelievable. So I go, "Where did you get that board?" Because I was on somebody else's board. We won't name the company because I like the guy. And well, anyway, I go see Steve. Well, we get in there, and here are all these pictures up on the wall of Bainey doing all these lifts. And Debbie and I are walking down the wall, and I'm pointing at these pictures going, "I can do that. I can do that.
Tandem lifts.
I can do that. I can do that." And so Bainey's standing behind me, and he just sort of leans over my shoulder in the same words I
Are
heard
you
years
saying
ago.
this out loud to Debbie?
Yeah.
And he's hearing this.
He's hearing it.
How beautiful a moment.
So he goes, "You'll have your chance on Sunday. Meet us down at the beach."
God, it brings tears to my eyes. It's
So
such
we
a
get down
It's
there.
like a miracle moment.
Well, we get down there. Here's the interesting part. We get down there because I know somebody will probably catch Steve with this thing. So we get down there on Sunday, and Steve and Barry are in their van, and he brings out a board, but Barry won't come out. Barry's done with tandem. She's hung it up. She's in there reading her newspaper, and it's like, oh, he's going to teach some tandem team because tandem teams on the West Coast were down to under 5.
Explain that. What happened with shortboarding is tandem just faded off.
Tandem went away. It was just history, and longboarding hadn't made it return yet. This
It was
before,
just the beginning of the rebirth of cool.
Just the beginning.
And those 5 teams really weren't active teams.
No, they weren't active. It was the Bainies and the Safarics and John
Taylor.
and Pamela and who was the couple that had the band, the
Reef Riders.
Reef
It
Riders. They were
was,
from the Reef Riders.
Yeah.
Gosh, right on the
I
top-
forget
tip of
right
my
now. He's
tongue.
out in
I must
Borrego
be
Springs
watching.
right now. He lives out there.
Where your land is, huh?
Yeah. So yeah. So but anyway, so we were down to very few teams. Now in Hawaii, there was still
On
Dwayne
the
and
west side.
Brian.
Yep.
Dwayne,
Melvin.
Brian,
Melvin,
Melvin. So it was still a big deal going in Hawaii, but
Not
on the
really.
mainland it
There
was
was a-
it was
a deal,
gone.
but it wasn't a
But
big
for
deal.
Buffalo, they would still do
It was
it.
the West
That
Side
was it.
boys. Though.
You know?
And no
Much going on in
contest.
You're right. It was the
Waikiki.
West Side Boys.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
contest in California. Nothing
they
was going
kept-
on tandem.
Yeah.
So there was nothing
I
cooking.
hadn't seen tandem in 30 years.
So Barry wouldn't come out of the van. She was like, whatever, like down here, moving on. And so Steve starts showing us. Well, Debbie goes out there, and Debbie, tell them what happened when you went out there.
Well, they gave us a board to use, and Mark took me out there. And,
What about the beach practices?
well, we did a
We
little
had-
bit of the beach practices.
Not
much-
and
not
we
much
had the
yet.
And that didn't
skating.
get very excited.
Well, we showed
No.
us a couple of our skating lifts that were not in tandem at the time, and that I could tell she was watching.
A lot of the
the van.
pictures on the 60 lifts are you guys. You guys put
Yes,
those
on,
lifts.
The original.
on
You
the
guys put that
lift
some of
chart
those silhouettes together.
Mark
with
did.
Uncle Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We actually shot pictures, and Mark blacked it out to be fair to the judges, so you wouldn't see any particular team
So
doing it.
We knew who it is. Look at the lats. I get to be the guy with the hand to foot, though.
That's right. That's right.
We did it in France with Crystal Palace. But tell me about.
Well, we borrowed the board, and Mark took me out because I wasn't a surfer, And but I knew how to do the
But
lifts
that
on
helps
skates.
if the girl doesn't surf sometimes at first.
Sometimes
A
you
girl
think-
who doesn't surf should not think she should still go out.
Yeah, today it would have helped if I had not tried to surf and knocked us out of the wave. But we actually got out there and I tried to get surfing and I started throwing up in the water. And Mark was trying
She
to
was
introduce.
seasick.
Yeah, he was trying to introduce me to surfing. I said I can't do
was
this.
I've
Seasick.
never heard of that before.
She wasn't really seasick.
It turned
Continue.
out
You were pregnant.
I was.
Oh my God.
And it was our second child, so that way I know exactly how many years I've been tandem surfing. Our daughter was born in October of '92.
Oh, you guys were so in 90,
Six.
right at the
He
beginning?
was, yeah, and he'd been surfing
92.
while I was
did-
pregnant.
I didn't get started until 95.
Well, he got to practice with a really cute little 16-year-old while I was pregnant. So as soon
You know,
as
that's
the
not a-
doctor released me, yeah, she got to take all the
All the
bumps.
hits.
And as soon as the doctor released me at 6 weeks, middle of December, I jumped in the water and reclaimed
And
my
that's how
husband.
you reclaimed it. But you know what I tell people
She-
when I'm teaching
yeah.
them how to tandem? The guys say, this is maybe the wrong thing to say, but I say when you're first learning, don't find a local girl, get a tourist girl, and practice with them. I hate to say it, but throwaway partners. Because you're going to blow it, you're going to blow it, you're going to blow it. But
Everybody-
then when you finally get the girl you want to really train with, she'll think you're a god.
Now, most people listening, they all know this about you. This is not news.
We're going to go down to the beach and all the girls are going to run away.
You're going to like, I don't want to be one of Bear's disposables.
No, they're not disposables. I teach guys and hand them off.
Yes, you
Yes,
do.
they
I
do.
develop
They,
teams.
they do leave you pretty rapidly and go find.
No, but that's what I do. I train the girl, then I train the guy, and then I put them together.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got Crystal and Polly
Oh
together.
no, like
got
Did you
Tiffany
get Crystal
going?
and Polly together?
You
they got together, but I taught Polly and I taught Crystal. But I wouldn't have said Crystal go surf with Polly.
No, I'm thinking that.
I would've kept
That
Crystal.
would
Crystal's
that
amazing.
move you back a slot.
Yeah, but Crystal and
Yeah.
Crystal, I think tandem love. You
But
can't
you-
get in the way of
But
tandem
I
love.
immediately off the
But
top
we
of my
have
head, at least two just come
No,
right
but
to
there,
mind.
but here in
Kat-
Waikiki,
Karen?
probably 16 teams.
Yeah, you,
So
Yeah.
we're
you've
gonna
built
take
them though.
we
It's
got to
easy.
take a little time jump. So
Okay.
she starts throwing up on the board and she's not surfing. Now tandem still hasn't started clicking yet. Nothing's really happening. There's a few
I didn't
teams.
see it till 95, I don't think.
Yeah, so you started seeing it in '94. The Oxbow up in
That's right.
had it.
Malibu.
ESPN was there. Pamela Anderson was doing the announcing. It started to hit. Longboarding started really taking off again, and it was going straight to the media. So at this time, Debbie's already back. But if the judging was not there, the judging was way off at the time. So
I was judging it. I'd never seen it.
yep.
That's not good judging.
So Uncle Bainey was trying to come up with different formulas on how to do the judging, and still to this day, the coalition is still looking for a basically a one-pager that a surf judge can use to prep teams to go to Pro Tandem ITSA. They want to get the beginning teams and then make sure that they're looking at the right stuff for these teams moving on to ITSA. So. But back then the judging was pretty bad, and hence you were talking about how we met, because it was not uncommon for me at that time to be chasing judges around the judging stand.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
You weren't chasing me. I don't remember that incident, but no, there was a lot of tandem drama. And what was so weird, this is a great example. I remember when I was first starting, maybe a year into it, we were at Malibu, and you know how they'd always say all the tandem teams come to the judge's tower, and then we'd have that pre-contest meeting
Yeah.
and talk about the rules. Who does that?
No one does that.
All right, and it's
just way
it's
too
getting
much.
more and more tense. These are the rules. These aren't the rules. And you know how maybe you'll remember this because it must have been a stunning event. Because Anna Schisler came up and dropped my trunks. And that
No, I missed it.
I missed that,
Well,
Bear.
anyway, you missed my shortcomings, but that diffused. I look like I was wearing a long T-shirt, but that diffused the all the stress that was there. I wasn't saying anything, but there was
Yeah.
just stress there, and she just, okay, you guys, let's go out and have a good
So-
time. But there was a lot of
That's
pre-contest stress while we were trying to figure
Yeah.
out what are the
Oh,
rules
yeah.
going to be this contest.
The tandem drama, as you call it, at least for me back then, a lot of people remember I was a pretty angry man back then with the way the judging was going. Like, okay, why are we doing
You're
this?
training so hard, and then you get bad
and then,
judging.
And then you get bad judging. So
Wow.
a one-arm back ends up winning the contest when all these other lifts were much
No,
higher.
Worse. I remember
Yeah.
surfing a Malibu event.
Yes.
The guy that won hadn't done even a shoulder.
Yeah,
level
you got it. I
lift.
remember that.
And I think his daughter did like a wheelbarrow accidentally, and they won. And while I'm driving up Pacific Coast Highway, leaving the event, someone rolls down the window, is yelling at me, and I'm like, oh, someone's mad at me. And they roll down the window and they go, you were robbed. They look, this is what they said. He looked like a dead cat giving birth. That was only Michael Spence was the guy who cared about it from a
Yeah,
He did.
Michael always cared about it. Now, one other thing was one day we end up getting the trophy inappropriately at Malibu. It was at Malibu. We got it inappropriately. So Melvin,
Melvin Pu'u was
Yeah.
the great
Yeah.
waterman from Makaha.
he had clearly won. Hands down, he had won. So I go up to Melvin. I go, Melvin, this really belongs to you. We all know who won, and you took it. And he goes, Mark. He goes, this happens. Someday it will happen to you. Right? And I was just like,
He was so
holy cow.
gracious.
Super, gracious. And I was just like, it really set me back and started
was this
changing.
the Oxbow?
No, it was
It
just
was
another
around
coalition
that time.
contest. It was around that time. He goes, this is happening. He goes, one day it's going to happen to you. You're going to win, and you're not going to get the trophy or the hardware for it or whatever. And I was listening to him. I go like, you know what? That was sort of like a moment-changing thing for me. After that, I started lightening up and not taking it so
You did?
quite serious.
Did
yeah.
he? Did he?
Well, yeah, I
he
didn't.
thinks
I
he
didn't.
did.
I didn't chase judges around anymore. I
That's
started
true.
complaining, and I stayed out of the judges' stand. I think one of the worst things, a lot of us they want to go see a judge. Now, with my own club, from time to time I judge, and when we get fathers and parents that come in there wanting to chew on a judge, I volunteer. I always tell the other judges, send me.
Send him to me.
Send me. I got to pay back. It's my time to give back for all the
And
for
he
all the
does.
trouble I gave judges. I
He
go,
lets-
they need somebody to yell at. Let them yell at me.
He lets the fathers yell at him.
I got
and-
goosebumps having you guys here, man.
The,
Yeah.
the daughters are looking up to their dads, and their dad's telling him
Their
off.
dad is just
and he'll
telling
sit
me
there
off.
and he'll let them do it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
You know who really did also figure out that there was a problem with the judging was Bobby Friedman.
Yeah.
And it was a Malibu contest again, and he said, I'm going to do all one-arm backs, and you're going to do harder lifts,
And I'll
and
win.
you're going
And
to
I'll
win.
win.
And we said, Bobby, why? And he goes, because the
The
judges
judging's
don't
wrong.
know that it's easier, it's prettier, and you can surf in it easier. And he did. He
So-
we really had a powwow beforehand saying, Bobby, they can figure this out, and don't
No,
do
they
that.
can't. I was
They
watching.
You know?
didn't.
So if you notice the
And
change,
it was true though. He won, and that's what
Yeah,
really opened
absolutely
all
true.
of our eyes to the fact that we need to help the judges.
so
But the judges would have to invest hundreds and hundreds of hours to become
Yeah.
the judges. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
well, basically, after that, there was this stale period where you had to be a mammoth of a man, basically, to be doing tandem. There was no weight rule. The judging wasn't that good.
what do you mean by a weight rule?
Weight rule. There was no where the woman needs to weigh at least half the man's weight.
Right.
Now, you could say that another direction, that, the other way around. But, at least half the man's weight. So there was no weight rule. So a lot of the guys who wanted into tandem couldn't get into tandem because they knew there wasn't going to be a chance, because you get a big guy like me finding a little 60-pound or 80-pound girl,
Right.
and it's just going to be hands down, we're going to take you. So when the weight rule and the new judging, which I think ITSA came up with, Rico and you.
That was really Rico's
Rico's
genius.
doing?
And when we were in France and we were testing these things out,
Yeah.
the missing piece, do you agree, besides having judges that really knew what was happening and really knew every single lift and could see it within a second and a half,
Yeah.
was that there was nothing to, because you guys had already come up with the range.
We had the chart. We had
You
the
had
range,
chart,
yeah.
But there was nothing to give you scoring as really a good way to approach sequences.
Yeah.
The hardest lift, and
Yeah.
I kept trying to pencil that out, and Rico just came up with a genius approach to have that third element of the scoring. How well you surf while you're in a lift is
Yeah.
one. The hardest lift you do and hold for 3 seconds is another.
And that 3
And the
second
third one-
had to be added in.
It used to be 2, and then it
Yeah.
got
It
up to 3.
actually, there was a time when it didn't
Yeah,
count at all, but
right.
old school tandem would
was
ride a
long.
long time.
Yeah.
And then we started looking like the girls were like popcorn, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah,
and you
it
couldn't
needed to be
tell.
That. It was too much. Then it got
Too
too
much.
fast. You
And-
couldn't even. The judges couldn't even see the lifts in 2 seconds.
And you could
Yeah.
fake it. If you weren't holding a
And-
lift, you dropped out and went
Right.
to another one, so you could actually fake a lift.
Yeah, and Stephen Barry Bainey had a really beautiful conversation with me about that, and we adjusted that rule. And
Yeah.
I think it should be.
That helps.
I think it should go to be even longer. But there was the magic that Rico brought was the algorithms and the computerized scoring
Yep,
system
definitely.
that allowed you to bring in the sequences
Yeah.
as well as the hardest lift. So let me ask you. I want to go away a little bit from the competition element of
Yep.
it. Tell me about some of your greatest your memories of some of the most spectacular waves, and then later I want to ask about a couple wipeouts. Can you and Debbie share?
You know, sometimes they go
Yeah.
together because
Yeah,
they're
I'm
going
gonna say
great.
they go together.
I know one time we almost got a tube in Biarritz.
Oh yeah,
We love Biarritz.
We
So
love,
we were-
and can I
Biarritz,
tell you before we go
France.
into that
Yeah.
how that connection started? At least my memory
Yes,
of
please,
it.
yeah.
It was the Oxbow year in about '94, and the French people were down, and
yeah.
Who, when
they
you say
saw.
French, who were
Well, I
Do you remember who it was?
I don't
There
remember
was
the
one
gentleman's
gentleman,
name.
and I forget
yeah,
his name too.
Steve and Barry know him.
Well, they know him well.
And
He actually.
was just fading out of Tandem when he showed up.
Well, we did our tandem contest, and he actually, Mark kind of stands out, and he actually approached us about tandeming in France, and Mark and I said, well, we're not really in the industry, we do this as a hobby, let us introduce you to the Bainies, they're in the
Yeah,
industry,
they're in the
and
surf
we walked
industry.
him over and said, here, you
Big
guys
difference,
talk,
yeah.
and then
But you
that
guys,
started.
I remember going to Biarritz, France,
Yeah.
and seeing images of you, I think on their poster and all over Biarritz of you guys. I think you were skateboarding in
Yeah,
Biarritz
we were tandem skateboarding. I think my tandem skateboard is still hanging in that bar right there in
That's,
Biarritz.
oh, that's right. I think it was it's Robert's Bar.
Robert's Bar, yeah.
Down by the castle.
Yeah.
Below the 300 steps.
Yeah,
Restaurant.
so we had come down that road around the castle and come down that road doing tandem lifts on a skateboard, which we're going to say right now to anybody listening, no, don't do it.
May I add the exclamation point?
Yeah.
You see this meniscus right here? Tandem skateboarding. You know, we have a rule. I don't drink and lift, and my partner had a little bit of a drink on Thanksgiving, and we were tandem skateboarding in front of her house. And you know what they call tipsy? She was just a
no.
little bit tipsy.
She was
a little
and I
tipsy?
saved her, but my meniscus got
Yeah.
destroyed. So think
There was-
twice before you tandem
Yeah,
skateboard.
everybody out there, there's one rule in tandem skateboarding, and that is you can never, ever drop the woman. That's asphalt or concrete or
Right,
whatever
and
you
that's-
on.
And I saved her, but my leg went in a very unusual direction.
Plus, a lot of the boards, now you got to remember, we also build special boards for tandem skateboarding.
Yeah.
They have a steel bar underneath the deck in order
Yeah,
to
with
keep them
extra
from
weight.
collapsing.
Yeah.
Because on a lot of these boards that you see out there right now for longboard skateboarding, you'll be tempted to put your girlfriend on the front, but they'll just break. That birch will just snap.
But I want to say the French, when we would show up there, and you guys showed up the year before I did, the first one, they adore the tandem surfing. Do you remember how many people would show up at night? Were you there for one of their night surfs?
Yeah, we did one of the night surfs, but you're right. The
20,000 people.
Yeah, but you're looking at a culture over there where surfing, if you notice when you went through the different businesses in town, surfing was a part of every business there. They made their racks out of surfboards, and you're in a JCPenney's. You're in a JCPenney, and all the racks are surfboards on each end.
Yeah.
You know, you go into McDonald's, and there's surfboards hanging up.
It's like Huntington Beach.
Yeah, so
San
they've
Clemente,
ingrained
or
it.
Waikiki.
Yeah,
But
and
when
embraced it.
when we first went there, they didn't have any real French teams.
No, they
And
didn't.
We
No.
showed a
It
few
was just
things.
that one guy.
You
I
went.
don't
The
remember who
Bainies
it was.
went several years in a row and brought with
But-
them
but
about
no
a
one
couple
learned.
of
No
tandem
one
teams.
learned. No
Well,
one
they took some of the basics because
Well, and Bainey
when we
also
ran,
left boards there.
But they
did.
didn't stay. They didn't compete until at one point, the magic was Rico.
Yeah, the magic was
Yeah.
Rico.
Well,
yeah.
I remember bringing. It wasn't a Bainey board. It was a Stewart board, and I brought it and gave it to him.
Oh,
And I said,
okay.
"You use this to," and that's what I did that year because I had so many boards. I just gave them because you know when you go to Florida, someplace else, you're teaching tandem,
Yeah.
and you leave. There's no sup boards there, right? There's no big
There was-
stand-up
there
boards.
was-
There's no big
you know
boards.
what?
So I'd give 'em-
Nobody, there was no sup at that time.
There wasn't any, so I would give him my board. But I gave mine. I remember this beautiful guy Rico walking into the competitor's tent, and I said, "I brought this board for you," and I remember he teared up.
That is so
And then
sweet.
he became one of the greatest
So,
phenomena of
so
surfing.
what year was that? What year?
I think it was 98.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was going to say my memory
or
is
99.
We never went there with you. We went in
We
'96.
kept missing each other.
Yeah, we went in '96 and we went in 2000.
It was probably
Yeah.
98 or 99, something
Yeah.
like that. And Enrico came out and lived with me for a few months in 2001, I think.
And then the
Yeah.
French
2002.
became phenomenal. And I remember my first memory of is when you brought tandem back on the map in 2006,
Six.
was it?
Mhm.
And you called us and said, we're going to have a world finals. And we looked at each other and said, "Oh my gosh, we're out of shape
The
and
first world
overweight.
title in 8 years.
We've got a few
I
months to get
I had
it
to drop
together."
30 pounds to make the
I
first.
saved your life, Mark.
Yes, thank you. You know what?
And-
You helped
and-
keep us young.
And for some people,
And
I
I'm
destroyed
trying to
their
wreck
mar-
yours.
For some people, I destroyed their marriage, and some people saved their marriage, right? Because Tandem can do the two-edged sword.
It really is. It amplifies whatever's going on at home. But
Yeah.
I do remember, and Bear, thank you for doing that for Tandem, because you know what? To this day, Mark and I will say, but for Bear in 2006, reinvigorating it, I don't know where it would be, but I don't think it would be where it is.
There's nobody out there in the Tandem community that has not appreciated your work.
Well, they also say that, like, I remember.
But there's many other things we want to say about you.
I remember
we'll get to those.
David Poo warned me. He goes, "You know what the pioneers? You know what they say about how you can tell a pioneer? The one with all the arrows in their back."
You
And I said,
know?
"Oh, come on, David, come on."
No,
come
he's
on, come on."
absolutely right.
But yeah, I got a lot of arrows in my back. I'm like a pin cushion.
Yeah.
But we did. That was our second exposure to the French because we hadn't been there since 2000. And when we did come over here, we flew over, and some of the other California teams were here, and they met us at the beach, and their eyes were wide open. They said, "Holy smokes, we got to start stepping it up a game."
What do you mean? When 2006?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the French
2006.
came over doing the
Yeah.
what we call the French arrow or the small
And they
arrow.
were very faithful
things.
to the Bainey approach on
Yeah,
this as much as they
absolutely.
could. From
And
the
and
beginning.
we were complacent and happy with our attitudes
Oh,
and
we
grass
used to win
shacks.
with attitudes and grass
Yeah, and we
shacks.
came over here, and the Siskars ran over to us. I think Clay and Kristen, and their eyes were wide open. They said, "Gales, we're learning stuff today on the beach. We're going to take it in the water tomorrow. We got to master this in 2 days, or
And-
we're not competitive."
And that's what we did.
And that's what the California teams
Well-
did. We had to step it up a notch in 2 or 3 days.
Do you remember what I did to you guys? You may not remember this, but I really messed with you guys bad.
You always
Because
do.
we had the Cirque du Soleil Hawaii here,
Oh yes.
and
Yeah.
we had the Russian guys there. I took you guys all to Cirque du Soleil. Did you go, Mark and David?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
went.
yeah,
we
we
Okay,
went.
so and I had told
went.
you guys that the Russian base guys from the gymnastics and the women flyers, the Mongolian women flyers,
Yeah.
had gotten into tandem surfing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you guys are like, "Oh my God!" And the reality is, one of the women there used to tandem, or her mother did.
Oh, okay.
So we took you there. We all stood up when we did our tandem list. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I do
And then
remember
when
that.
we left, I'd had all the Russians say, "Yeah, we're looking forward to competing with you guys." And everyone was like,
We're like,
"Oh my
holy
God."
smokes! Now we have to do finger to finger.
But they had never. They didn't
Yeah.
actually. That wasn't
Yeah.
true. But we were doing our best to mess with you. That was a beautiful. You know, I gotta tell you, when my experience, it was a heart and soul thing to get everybody to come. And we had 28 teams that first year, 32 the next year, which is the largest gathering ever of the Tandem tribe. And I remember because when I first came to Waikiki, there were just a couple of us tandem surfing. So we're here in Waikiki, and who's that out at Queens? Who is that? Oh, I think is that the, for example, the Siskars.
Yeah.
Well, who's that? Wait a minute, who's that over at Canoes? Because some people would show up, we wouldn't have picked them up, or they just kind of came. We didn't know when people were arriving. That's Mark and Debbie Gale. There's Clay and Chris and Huntington.
Mm-hmm. Brian and Isla.
It was like the gathering of the tribe, yeah. And then the West Side guys, the lifeguards, Jason Patterson came down and surfed with Talon, my wife, and it was just it was almost like at dusk when you're hunting, and the deer come out of the forest.
I don't hunt.
Well, I love to kill Bambis.
Oh, man.
No, I'm just messing with you. But you know but I've lived in the mountains of Montana, and you know what it's like when the deer come out just at dusk, and there were these like apparitions almost. It was so, and it got to the point that there were thousands of people watching that contest. And want me to tell you something kind of cool?
Okay.
That happened
I
today.
I see the gleam in your eye.
It is my podcast.
Yeah.
No, but because
Yeah.
my greatest joy of this podcast is to hear these stories. But today it was a great day. The sunset, the afternoon session was wonderful out there surfing
Yeah.
at Queens. And I caught one of those set waves. And I remember we told Shannon O'Neill, who had only had 6 weeks to practice with me for the world title, I told Michael Spence, we're going to shoot that gap in front of my house. For you who don't know, there's Queens is 0.2 of a mile out. And then there's the jetties.
A little swimming area for
Yeah.
people don't like waves.
So, and then there's this jetty where people blocks it out so people can swim. But there's like a 5-foot opening right in front of my house.
Yeah.
And so I told Michael, we're going to shoot that gap. I think that the waves will set up and allow us to shoot that gap.
Make it all the way through.
Yeah, and so Shannon and I took off in our second heat. I said, Shannon, we're going to make, as we're dropping in, we're doing our lifts. I go, Shannon, we're going to make this through the inside section. So we just kind of nursed the board. She was so sweet, and she goes, let's go for it, Bearski. And she's the only one that calls me that. But we worked our way, nursed our way through this kind of messy, shallow, backed off wave. And all the judges had looked away. Shane, you were filming. You were the only one that got it on video.
No, we saw it.
Mark and I saw it.
We saw it.
We
Tell me. Where
No,
were
we
you?
saw it.
Were you in the water?
We were in the
No,
water. I was in the
no,
water.
we
Where was I?
We were standing. We were not in the same heat.
No, we weren't in the same heat, but I think we were at the water's edge.
Oh, you're right. We were at the water's
Well, what
edge.
did you
we were in
see?
the water.
Tell
getting
me
ready to
what
go
We
out.
you
saw you go right
Just saw you go
through.
right through the gap. I go, how did he get over the rocks?
Yeah, I remember Mark
That's what I was
saying
saying. I go,
that.
how did he get over the rocks?
And I
Right.
Bear, I mean, I have
I didn't
a
know there was
memory
a
of
gap.
that.
Do you?
I
In your
have a
mind?
memory. So you know how you share a wave with somebody?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes tandem teams, because we pay attention to each other
Yeah.
too. You shared it with Shannon, but we shared it with you also.
That was
So
amazing.
then we were talking to the other teams, like, how did he get over the rocks?
Yeah, Mark
You
was
know, like
baffled.
there's a gap over there. I go, what gap?
You
And
can't
how-
hardly
you know,
see it. It's 5 minutes. It's just 5 feet wide, right?
Yeah,
And-
Mark was baffled. He really
Well,
was.
the crowd was freaking out because they were so excited to see us extend that wave, really twice as far as where everyone else is kicking out. And they're screaming and cheering for us, and they're delighted, and we're getting closer and closer, and they're all sitting on the jetty and lining up on the beach.
So what board were you on? What board?
It was a Bainey. Oh, I can't tell you. I think it was a Bainey board, the Infinity board.
Yeah. You always sell the wrong board.
Anyway, we get to that gap, and I put her in a fake arm to arm, and we surfed through the gap, and I flipped her down and caught her in my arms, and we walked into the sand. It was one of the greatest moments. Shannon gave me that gift. You agree
Yeah.
it's your partner that gives you these gifts.
Yeah. So for
Let's
Debbie
hear
and
about
I-
your great waves.
And
But-
now
but-
I have a
but-
memory that's not a wave, but
Not
Mark
a
does
wave?
remember it. We were surfing, I think Doheny, and tipped over or something and fell. But what I did was I was standing on the bottom, and
Oh, where Doheny?
yeah, and it's kind of rocky down there and a little bit slimy, but the rocks started moving out from underneath me, and I was
Oh, I know
kind
this
of like
story.
all of a sudden I get slip and I fall, and all of a sudden Mark comes out of nowhere, and he comes up and he goes, "Why are you stomping on me? You're walking on me. I'm on the bottom." I was standing on him. I didn't know
His
it.
job is to save you, right?
He did. He put himself down the
So
rocks, and
I'm
I was
on the
walking.
bottom, and she's just stomping me, and I'm going like, what is going on?
You know what's cool is every tandem surfer that we know
Yeah.
has given up their body for their tandem partner. Every single one. Because I guarantee you this.
Yeah.
If you, well, for the most part, if you don't,
Yeah.
you don't get to keep tandem surfing. If you hurt your partner, your career's pretty much over.
Well, you got to go find another one. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of eliminates those people.
Yeah. You know, and then the
I mean,
word
not saying
and
a
the
girl
word
can't
gets
get hurt.
around about you.
Not saying a girl can't get hurt, but the
Yeah.
guys that I know, I have so much respect. I've seen them
So
scrape their body across the.
I'm going to have to
back
say
across
one of our greatest waves is probably playing with our son when he was young and had a bodyboard. We were up at Steamer Lane.
my
Yeah.
home break from when I was a kid.
Yeah, Steamer Lane was coming in at double overhead.
Santa
but it was
Cruz for
just
everyone in
crystal
Estonia.
clear. Steamer Lane was crystal clean, perfect double overhead, no section. It was awesome. So we get over to Steamer Lane, and I go, Debbie, I think we can put our son on the nose of the tandem board. We'll put his bodyboard up there, and as we're going down the line, launch him.
Oh, how cool!
So we did. We took off, and we were driving down the line. And sure enough, we got to this section where, I mean, it's just like the size of a house. And Debbie just sort of lines him out the side, and she just jettisons him. And he takes off for that quarter mile all the way down to Cow's, where he has to get out, walk up the staircase, and walk all the way back down the
Dodging
road.
seals and seaweed.
Yeah. And then speaking of seals, that's also another place where on Gary and Johanna,
I
they had a
remember
seal
that.
jumping on their board.
I was 2 feet away from them.
Oh, you saw that when
Well,
I
you-
only heard about
No,
it.
I was paddling out. This is my home break, right? And those
Yeah.
aren't seals.
What are they?
Elephant seals, dude. They're like mountain lions. They're huge. They're like a rhinoceros or a hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Those big,
Yeah.
like the size of a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And we're paddling out. I'm giving you my paddling imitation.
He's waving his hands in the air like he's paddling across the sky, folks.
Yeah, and Andy Broccoli's in front of me, and we're paddling out, and you know they don't like go. They like roar, right? And
Well, they bark.
he comes out and he
Yeah.
roars at Johanna, and like I see them just paddling, and they kind of go up. It goes on the board and then slides off, and they catch the wave and they do this lift, and I'm going, oh my god, how could they do that? And I asked him afterwards. They go, how did you catch that wave? And he goes, you don't understand. There was no way we weren't going to catch that wave. And then we went out into the lineup, and Andy's like, we don't need to catch a wave. We just sat there, and then our heat ended, and then they basically shut the that that Alpha Seal shut down the event for 45 minutes.
They will do that.
He
We have
wanted
one
to,
in
I think he wanted to
Sacramento.
mate with Mark.
Yeah,
We were-
I'm a good looking man.
Yeah, you're,
So-
you're about as big as an Alpha Seal.
So the next wave that comes to mind, again, is another non-successful wave that Debbie's talking about. We're down in Oceanside Harbor. It's a toss-up between Huntington Beach and Oceanside Harbor, which was
We're going to
worse.
hear both.
So we're down Oceanside Harbor, and the Bainies go, hey, let's go down and practice before the contest tomorrow. Okay. I've never surfed Oceanside Harbor jetty.
Cobblestone.
Yeah, well,
bottom
it's a
and
jetty
reef.
break, much like the wedge.
Describe that. What does that
So
mean?
it's just a mountain. This huge mound of water comes in and gets very hollow, and it's at least double overhead.
It hits
because
the
swell
jetty
is
and
coming in.
bounces back off.
Yeah,
and
it forms like a hydrodynamic, a very fast wave. So we get there, and Debbie and I get the board out in Bainey's van. He's taking us down there, and Steve and Barry are sitting on the beach, and they go, we ain't going out. And Debbie and I, being inexperienced, to go, well, we're going out. We got to get some practice if we're going to beat you old guys. So Bainey goes, I'm not going out in that. Go ahead.
We'll watch you. That's
We'll
what he
watch.
said. We'll watch you.
We'll
with
watch.
through heavy lenses. It sounds
So-
like General Patton.
So Debbie and I get out there on this, and it's just a big, giant A-frame peak coming in, and it's making noise as it's coming to shore. So it forms its own wind, right? If you've seen some of these bigger
Yeah, the
waves,
offshore that
they start forming their own breeze, and you can hear the rocks on the bottom of the ocean start to rattle,
yeah.
right? So as this undertow starts sucking across the rocks, so this thing's starting to growl and come to life as we start paddling into this thing. So we paddle into this thing, and we take off, and it's, as my wife would call, straight off Adolf.
Right.
We drop straight down, we make a bottom turn, and I remember not looking up at the lip. But I look at my wife in front of me as I'm aiming down the line, and I see her look up once, look up twice, and then it's like that thing in the jet airplane where they, between their legs, they have this handle.
Yes.
She pulls it, and she's gone.
She ejects.
She ejects off that board. I am like so out of here. Without it, didn't say a thing. She's like, oh, no way, I'm done. Bye. And she ejects right out the side of the wave. And I'm there all alone, right? So
yeah.
the wave just jacks over and hammers me.
It was a closeout. That's why I got out of there.
Just friggin' hammers me, and naturally the leash,
Snaps.
for many people that don't know about tandem boards, they require dual leash plugs. One leash plug won't do it. It'll rip it right out of the board. So you got to have dual
And
plugs.
a big wave leash.
And you got to have a big wave leash. It
Thick
snapped
leash.
it instantly. Didn't even stretch. Didn't even feel hardly a pull. Brand new leash, just pop, gone. So I pop up and I see Debbie, and she's sitting there and she's like, "Holy cow!" And I go like, "Yeah." I go, "Board's gone." She goes, "Well, see you. Bye." Next wave comes in. She goes all the way to the beach body surfing. And I'm sitting out there by myself now, and she's on the beach waving. I'm going like, I have got to paddle all the way in.
Swim.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm swimming in, but the waves don't seem to pick me up like they pick her
Yeah,
up.
there's
and take
this
her to the
little rubber
beach.
ducky.
Yeah, I don't
You're
have.
Alpha Seal.
Yeah, I'm like, if I don't swim, I'm going to sink.
You're right.
Right? So
You don't have natural buoyancy.
no, so I'm like going like, doggone it. So I'm working my way in, and Debbie's just standing on the beach giggling, and that was one of the fun days. Drive all the way to Oceanside Harbor, practicing for the event, take one wave, don't even do anything with it, snap the leash, end of the day.
I remember a similar incident. At Swami's.
At Huntington or
At
Swami's, yeah.
I was with Andy Broccoli. We paddled out at Swami's alone. It was a southern hemi swell. You know how they are in Southern California. I would say it was about 100 feet, but it was probably more like 14 to 15 foot faces.
Yeah,
Faces.
yeah.
I think it was bigger.
Which is
'Cause
about
you know how it's
which
set up.
for a Hawaiian scale, that's 2 to 3, right?
Well, it was, no, I would say it's more like 5 to 6. But
5 to 6,
we
yeah.
don't talk Hawaiian scale. It's so confusing for the people in Estonia. Or on the north. We got Tony over there on the rig on the North Sea.
Yeah, the guy in the North Sea.
Yeah, 100-foot waves.
So that's 4 to
So-
6 Hawaiian.
I would say 4 to 6 Hawaiian.
Yeah, 4 to 6 Hawaiian.
So we dropped into a wave at Swami's, and I remember she was so trepidatious just to paddle out. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. We paddle out. We make it through the. So hard to get out in California because there's not like channels a lot of times.
Yeah, there's no channels.
So we snuck out between sets. We're sitting out there. We drop in on a wave, and she's such a good partner. We drop in. We do the bottom turn, and I just look at it. It's just a hollow closeout, and I do this gnarly bottom turn. I'm going to try to make it out the top.
Yeah.
But she knows when I normally do that once we get to the top of the lip, she's going to lean and we're going to go back into the wave,
Oh,
right?
we're discussing that issue today.
Well, okay. Well, she chooses to help me by leaning back into the wave. So all I can do is I
There you
take
go.
her, and I toss her over the lip,
Over the lip, yeah.
and then the board falls away from me.
Yeah.
I Superman through the lip,
Yeah.
so momentarily I'm there, and I go, see ya. And then unfortunately the leash didn't snap. It pulled me right down through the lip of the wave, and I didn't see her for 25 minutes. She was sitting on someone else's board waiting for me to try to paddle through that
Oh, yeah.
heavy lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had contacts at one time, and Mark, after losing me for 20 minutes at Oceanside, he kept waving, and what he was waving is, I can't get back out through this to you.
Come in.
Come in.
But you couldn't see him.
I couldn't see. I thought he
'Cause-
said go south, and so I swam 2 lifeguard towers south. And I
that was
kept
it.
going.
That was our heat. We caught nothing.
We
End of the
actually
day.
walked
But it
back
was a
up
heat.
the beach, and they go, "Well, there's the Gales. We think that was your heat, you guys."
All
Yeah,
I can
we
say
were
is
done.
I remember the same almost thing. Again, it was Andy Broccoli. We were first learning, right? My first couple
Yeah.
years of tandem surfing. We're at C Street. It was the biggest day she and I had surfed, even bigger than Swami's. And we were dropping in on this wave, kind of on the inside of C Street up by Ventura.
Yeah.
Not right at the point, but we had kind of drifted. And we were dropping
So,
in. We were
sort of going in towards the harbor area, that kind
towards
of
the
inside?
pier, but not
towards
that
the pier, okay.
But just past where that pipe goes out.
Yeah, the sewer pipe,
We were
yeah.
right about there. We were dropping in. We go,
When you were standing on Mark.
Yeah, I've hit that thing.
So your fins have hit it probably
Yeah.
too. So we're going down, and we go, this is beautiful. And we're paddling. She's stroking hard. We're going in. We're dropping into this wave, and it's going to be the best wave we've ever had, and it's going to be beautiful. And there's this guy way off in the distance that's never going to make that wave. And suddenly he's there as we're dropping in.
Oh, no.
He was going so fast. So we had nothing to do. I tried to pull up on the board,
Yeah.
and we went over the falls. And both Andy and I, at that time, wore contact lenses. We later both got LASIK surgery.
Yeah.
But we didn't have our contact lenses after that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're gone.
Yeah,
I
I have-
remember. Was that what you were going to say?
Yeah,
Your
well, I
contact
didn't lose
lenses?
the contacts. Had taken them out for the
Oh,
surf,
oh.
and so I couldn't tell what he was.
No.
And our leash did not snap that time, but I can tell you that the leash stretched so far. I would say it was 50 feet of
Started
leash.
worrying about it coming back, right?
Oh yeah, it could hit you
Yeah.
in the teeth. But I mean, it stretched. My leash was
Yeah.
I had a 20-foot leash.
I think one time Huntington was dragging Mark by.
Let me hear the
as he
Huntington
went-
story.
Well, we've got a few of them, but
About
this
shooting
one,
the pier.
He was flying
Oh,
by
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
as the
didn't
board
mean
was,
to shoot it.
The board was dragging him like it was.
Those boards are hard to
So
deal
in
with.
1994...
He grabbed onto me as he was going by, like I was going to anchor. I looked like a squid with my arms and legs being
Like
dragged
this?
at speed. Because I was just going with him, and then I did try.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to use
Do you
her as an
realize that
anchor.
you're
I
not
was
telling
trying-
us? You're not telling us about your beautiful waves. You're telling
No, our
This is what we
accidents.
remember. We love
the ones
them.
Tell
we
me
love.
about the Huntington Beach. I think you guys got sucked right into the pier, right? Kind
Yeah,
of.
so Huntington Beach,
Huntington Beach has an information.
John Taylor was surfing.
the beautiful John Taylor.
Yeah, John Taylor, and he goes, listen, we were a fairly young tandem team at the time. He goes, listen, you're going to have to take one extra stroke, and he goes, you need to follow me. Stay on my tail.
As you're
and
paddling
stay
out.
with me. Now, the way to get out of Huntington Pier, the only way to get out was to hide behind the pylons as the wave went through.
Well,
Right.
you
So we
left
paddle
You
one
gotta
thing
out.
hug the pylons or
Yeah.
be
You left
inside.
one thing out. These are 12-foot faces that splash in
I-
the bottom of the pier.
You can ask Talon about that
So,
day.
so we're at Huntington Pier for this contest, and half the tandem teams dropped out immediately.
Yeah,
So
you're wondering
we're
why.
already going to finals,
Yeah.
right? You know, half the teams are gone and they chicken out, and so we're standing on the beaches.
Or would you say they surrender, retreat is the better part of valor?
I think they were smarter. Than
They
I
didn't have their
was.
brown wetsuits.
Well, so anyway,
Can I say one thing here, just in John's favor, and it really helped
The
me.
beautiful John
he,
Taylor.
He
Yep.
took me aside. He's very, very calm.
Yeah.
Little did I know what I need his advice. But he said, Deb, if you do get sucked away from Mark, if you get separated out there. Now, I have no idea what danger I'm going into.
Yeah.
He goes, if you get separated and you end up under the pier, don't fight the current. Go on through to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that-
remember.
so
That gives us a
she
hint of what's
so
about
she
to be
took
said.
the punchline, but here it goes. So
Just a hint.
That
So
was
we,
a warning.
So they tell us to get out. The only way to get out is you paddle, and before the next wave, you hide behind a pylon. So this is a 12-foot, 6-inch
I've
board.
done that, yeah.
So, and then after the wave splits around you, like this image you have right here going around the lighthouse. Many people have
Yeah.
seen this picture where the wave's breaking around the lighthouse.
Right.
That's the same thing you do at each pylon.
Just
You
hide
hide
behind
from
it.
the swell.
Yeah.
So, and then you go around and you go up to the next pylon and you hide again. So we get all the way out, but now we're out where there's a current that you're never going to get a chance to stop paddling. The whole time, the whole heat,
You're
you are
paddling
going
north?
to be trying to go, actually at this time go south.
Go south, okay.
Right, so at this time you're trying to go south on the south side of the pier because the current's headed north.
And Huntington really feels a lot like a beach break to me.
It's
Even though it's got that pier
it
kind of
has
walls it up,
the initial break, the middle break, and then the inside break.
Yeah.
And you have to negotiate all three ways.
the
on
initial
rebound.
drop can be almost a closeout.
Yes, it is. So we take off on our first wave. We get out there, and I did not stay on John Taylor's tail. I decided I'm going to the horn went off before we could all get out there.
The beautiful John Taylor.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So we decided I'm going to take this wave. This one coming in by the pier. I'm going to do a drop in, make a right. So we drop in. We're going right, and I throw Debbie up into a one-arm back. Nice, simple, easy. Good speed. I can still surf. Step on the gas pedal. Well, apparently I didn't step on the gas pedal enough, because while I've got Debbie overhead, she's yelling, "Faster!
Okay,
it's coming!"
Describe what she's in. Why
she is
she can see the
upside
wave.
down, looking backwards.
So you got her over your head. Go ahead.
Upside down, looking backwards.
Back arch. So my back is arched. He's got my foot, and my back is arched. So I'm seeing a 45 degree.
He's lifting you by the small of your back. You're upside down, arching, looking backwards at the wave.
I
Yeah.
can see where
Upside
we've
down.
been.
Yeah,
Yes.
when they go look at the YouTube, they'll see some one arm backs. But so she's looking at the wave, and the hook is coming for us. Well, I can see the wall building as we're getting ready. Like basically looking at a tube coming.
Yeah.
The wall's building, and she's yelling, "Faster, faster, faster!" So in the next second, I have two arms in the air and no wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
She's gone. The lip
Yeah,
hit her
you're
and took her
going
right
left
out of my
too,
arms.
aren't
I'm
you?
going right.
And that one we were going right.
Okay.
So I'm going right. So she gets cleaned off my hands, and I'm still surfing. I'm still on the wave, but it's like turn left, get into the flats, and go get her.
In other words, turn left, go right into the hook, get drilled,
Yep.
survive that. Hopefully
And then go
your
find
leash
her.
doesn't snap. Go find her.
Yeah.
Go paddle out.
So I paddle back over to her, but now this current is moving so fast. We are headed to the pier like you couldn't paddle that fast.
Now
to
you're
head to the
being
pier.
drifted back towards the pier.
Towards the
from where
pier.
you
We
came.
are going. We're drifting. We're on the inside.
You're
We're
getting
in the
swept
middle
north.
break, getting swept north.
And the big ones were closeouts. I mean, the pros were
I know.
airborne. So we were just riding the mediums. And
So
Yeah.
so this current has got a hold of us now, and there's no chance we're going to get to shore in time. So we're going
You're
through the
heading
pier.
towards the pier.
Now the day before, a young lady had wrapped her leash on the pier and died.
that was very sad. They could
So-
not get to her.
So she got, when the
Tangled
board
up.
went, the board went around one side, she ran
Yep.
around the other side. The wave went through, and she was below water
She
level.
could not get her leash off.
And
Now
that-
now
She
they've
couldn't
got
get it
that
off.
breakaway leash, but we never use it. We should.
Yeah.
Well,
they
so-
had a record number of saves up to the day.
That day.
That weekend.
So,
yeah.
so I
Wow.
grabbed Debbie, and I'm going like, get off the board, get off the board. I'm going through the pier, and Debbie's like getting furious because she's like, well, you taking the floaty thing for yourself, and you're just going to let me just go
I
through
did.
here alone.
I remember climbing on because he came up and he looked at me. He goes, "I'm climbing on the board," and he goes, "Oh, gosh,
Gosh darn.
It wasn't
Oh, gosh darn.
golly darn."
What were the initials?
You know what?
Time to come to Jesus. But
He said, "The set is coming, and we're on the
the set's
inside."
coming. I go,
And
get
so
off.
I started frantically trying to
I
climb
mean, you
on
know
the board.
that you guys could be dead within 30 seconds.
Well,
Well,
I'm
I'm
naive, so I'm frantically climbing on the board, thinking that's the right to do.
Explain
and-
why that isn't the right thing to do.
Well, I'll tell you
You're
what.
never
But
gonna
what
get-
I thought,
make it.
I looked across at Mark because I'm naive, and he looked at me with this look, and he goes, "It with this firm, but almost I considered
Growly,
it evil.
and-
It was get
Love that guy.
get
Mark.
Bear, I
off."
want everybody to know Bear just hit me.
I just love Mark.
Oh, poor baby. He said, "Get
Was
off."
it like when Debbie hit you? Kind of like a cat paw?
Like the declawed cat.
Okay.
No, but he actually looked at me and very firmly said, "Get off the board and get away." And I looked at him, and I was new to surfing, and I thought, "Oh, the chivalry."
He doesn't
I
love
thought,
you anymore.
Chivalry. How much of that
Chivalry-
gin have you had?
Chivalry is dead.
Is dead. I said, "Here's my husband who loves me, and we're in trouble, and he's taking the flotation device." We'll talk about this in divorce court as I dive under this huge wave.
And you are a paralegal.
No, court
it's
reporter.
worse than
Court
that.
reporter,
It's
that's
worse
right.
than
You
that.
better,
We'll
because I'm
cover
closer
that.
to the
So
judges.
did you get off the board?
I immediately got off, and I was furious as I dove under the wave. And when
So-
I came up,
Yeah, so anyway, so I make a run for the pier with the board. Now, this is a 12.6 giant board, and I am like trying to catch the white water and shoot the pier and get through the other side. I made 3 of the 4 pylons,
Yeah.
and then I caught the last one.
With what?
My forehead.
Is that thing right there? That dent?
Well, it's actually on the side. It took out a scalp of my hair, and it took off some. I have a scar
I
on my
saw
back.
some of your hair ledged in there
Right,
by
so,
the muscles.
so-
Because you're not hitting like a beautiful cement. It's covered with these sharp
Shells.
muscle shells.
Yeah.
What do they call muscles?
Muscles,
right?
Well,
yeah.
and Mother Nature.
well, wait a minute. I don't want my board hurt. I'm
Right.
not going to let the board
You
hit
don't care
the
about the
thing.
pier, do you?
So I turn the board and I take the brunt against this thing.
Typical
and,
surfer.
and I go around one side and the
leash
board
is on
goes
the
around
other,
the
just
other
like
side.
what happened to the girl,
Just
right?
happened to the girl.
Right.
So
wait,
I'm
but
not
the
done. I'm not done.
Mother
Hang on.
Nature, the wave went down, right?
Not done.
Okay, I'll let you take. Go ahead.
So I'm underwater. At the moment, I'm underwater. So and I'm going like, oh man, this thing is not breaking. The leash is not breaking. I go, I'm thinking
you
the same
need
thing,
it to
Deb.
break.
I go, this leash, I can't reach it. Right,
You can't get to your feet even.
can't
You
reach it.
even
I'm
do
trying to
you
bend
can't
in
even
half and
crunch
reach
and
it.
get your leash on your ankle to take it off, and the current's so powerful you
Yep.
can't do it.
So, so as I'm really trying to reach down and get it, I'm underwater. I'm trying to reach down and get it, and as I go to get it, the leash snaps. But basically, at that moment, also the wave has pretty much gone by.
Now
and
you would like
it's-
to have a board. Now you would like to have a board, but it's gone.
As
now
she
he
was
would,
mentioning.
yes, as he did, because he got to slide right down the barnacles after the water left.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
so you're up high as the wave passes,
Yeah.
and then the wave drops 15 feet, and you're sliding down the face of the barnacles,
So I pop up
did.
and I see
nibbling a few as you go.
I see the lifeguard jeep driving down the beach because my board, I can see it popping out of the white water up.
They're very buoyant. They're just
Right, and it's going sideways. It's headed to the shore. It's already cleaned 2 short boarders, 1 or 2. Right, I think
but
it
it's
broke.
no loss.
It broke the first
We don't
guy's.
mind losing short
It broke
boarders
the
or
first
boogie
guy's
board.
ribs.
He was trying to
Ooh.
grab it for
He
us.
tried to get it because he knows
And
we're
it
in a
broke his
contest.
ribs?
He took it right in the ribs, and so
Wow.
So he's not breathing. So I come by.
You're just screaming by. You don't mean to be. You're just
No,
screaming
I'm
by.
going for my board. I'm in the middle of my heat. I'm going to go get the board, get
You're
the
gonna go
wife, and I'm
surf
going to
out
get back
again?
out. Right. So I'm in the middle of my heat. I've got waves to
I have
catch.
these same memories of Huntington. Man.
So I get to shore and the board washes up on the sand just as the lifeguard had removed all the small
Please
kids.
tell me the fin broke.
No.
Oh no.
No, so the
he
fin
wants
is
to
fine.
paddle back out.
So I grab the board and the guy in the Jeep grabs my shoulder, right? Because I'm bleeding profusely down my back and down
Yeah,
my
but it's
face.
only blood.
So I'm going. So the guy grabs my shoulder and I turn to him. I go, "Where's my wife? The heat's not over." And he goes, "We've got your wife." I go, "What?" He goes, "We've got your wife." And I go, "Well, where is she? I got to go finish the heat." Explain what you did, Debbie.
Explain what I did. I got washed through the pier like John Taylor told me. Don't fight the current. But those are big pilings, and the ocean does want to throw you against them.
Oh,
so
no.
I took one at a time. I lined myself up, so as it threw me forward, it threw me between them.
You're amazing to have
And-
that state
Oh
of
no,
mind.
that
I
ain't the best part.
covered my face and my head with my arms in
You
case
did
I
a-
hit
oh,
it.
yeah, you did a
I
forearm
curled
ball.
up every time it threw me. I came
Feeled
out
it.
the other side and made eye contact with the lifeguard. At that time, I felt that I was fine, and Mark would eventually be
Yeah,
back.
I was gonna come out and get
Little
you,
did I
yeah.
know he was planning on coming to get me the next day. But I'm in the rip. I'm heading for
That
Seal
hurt,
Beach.
didn't it, Mark?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
dumb.
that felt like one of those like spears with the hooks on it.
It
So
was
you can't
like,
pull them
hey,
back out.
hey, the parking meter's going here. Come
I
on.
didn't know he caught the board about a mile away.
So anyway,
He goes
so,
and gets the board first, right? Okay, and then
Yeah,
what?
I got the board.
And I got caught in where the waterfall was coming down in the where the faces. I could not
Inside
go
the
deeper.
pier.
Outside, after I got sucked through, I was right where
You couldn't
it
go
was
in, you couldn't
breaking.
go
She was
out.
right in the
I
impact zone.
tried to paddle out deep. I
couldn't
tried
go
to
out. You
paddle
couldn't go in. You're in the washing machine.
I was heading for Seal Beach. I know that rip will take you 5 miles away before
Well, you'll
let's
you'll
go.
get out at the cliffs eventually.
So but I didn't have that kind of strength at that point, and I tried to maintain and stay by the pier where I thought Mark could find me, and where I thought the lifeguard was watching me, and
Yeah.
it kept pummeling me to the bottom, and I'd surface. And you had to shoot up so far because the foam was thick enough that you
you
had
couldn't
to shoot.
breathe.
Yes, I had to shoot up, get a breath, and then I'd be under the
So
foam.
the breath through the foam.
I'm dying for her to get to the good part.
So anyway,
That's not the good part yet.
yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
No.
But I did maintain I don't panic in water, but I maintain my sense.
That's really amazing that you don't panic in water.
I watched the lifeguard, and he had his eyes on me, and somebody was trying to talk to him, and he actually put his right hand, I'm not going to hit you, Shane, but he put his right hand out and pushed them away
Because he was watching you.
And he was keeping his eye on me, and he wouldn't even turn and talk to them. He just pushed them away.
Yeah.
And I realized he's waiting to see if I go down and don't come up.
Yep.
And I realized that. And I went
That
down a
was
couple more
comforting.
times. I looked up, and I realized he thinks I'm in trouble. I think I am too. I'm tired. I know I can't swim out of this. And I came up with a hand in the air. And before the next wave hit me, he was in the air and dove off the
Diving
pier.
off the pier?
That's
like
how
a
far out.
25-foot.
He jumped. He
Yeah,
jumped.
he jumped.
Just
dived,
like she jumped in
But can
Cocoa Beach.
we say that it was a swan dive?
It was a
You
swan
know-
for the podcast.
But actually, he went in feet first.
I think he went in feet first, but it was beautiful to me.
Oh,
I
I
knew he
want a
was
guy like
coming.
that shadowing me, man.
Oh no! So
No,
they
he-
bring her. They
he
bring her
br-
to the beach.
They did, but in all honesty,
How did he get you to the beach?
he threw the buoy as he got close. They won't approach you where you can grab
Right,
them.
right.
And as he got close, I wanted him to know I had presence of mind. I said, "I'm sorry, but I'm just tired. I can't get out of this." And he threw the buoy and he said, "Can you hold on?" And I said, "Yes." I grabbed him. He goes, "Good, duck," because another wave pounded on us. And I tried to kick my feet and hold on, and that's all I could do as he pulled me to shore. I believe at some point he must have helped me by my arm, and I was in maybe ankle deep water, and all I could do with both hands on my knees leaning over, all my energy not to collapse to the sand.
Yeah.
And he asked if I was okay, and I said yes, and off he went to go help somebody else. So I never saw the face
Wow.
of my knight in shining armor to thank
Wow.
him.
Oh no!
Now
this,
let me
this is,
let
this
me
is
ask this,
not the story.
But
I
let me
heard.
ask you next when you're done with this. How many times was this man saved you in the water?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was the first
He
saving
is. I've heard you talk a million times about that guy.
when he told me to get off the board.
yeah,
And even though I was angry, he was
he was
saving
willing
me.
to take the hit.
Yeah, he was. He's come over to pick me up as I've gotten sucked over to the rocks in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, my home break.
And he was coming over to get me, and he goes, "Oh, gotta go. Another wave's gonna, And I was again angry as he tried to paddle away. I grabbed the leash and followed him. He just thought it was
Good
a bunch
move.
of seaweed.
Yeah, that leathery seaweed in
He did. He thought,
Santa Cruz.
dang seaweed.
Also,
but it
also
was
people
me.
don't know we ride kelp cutters in Santa Cruz. What that means
Sharp-
is sharpened fin.
Sharp fins. Yeah. But it doesn't work.
But,
It works.
uh,
I thought it worked good.
He's usually saving me, all with me kicking and screaming and not realizing it. And
Yeah.
as in Santa Cruz, I gave him the wife tongue lashing. Why were you going to leave me? You knew the wave was going to throw me up against the rocks. And, I got these, well, wait a minute. You were between me and the surfboard and the rocks. What was going to smash you between the rocks?
Yeah, the rock and the hard place to surf.
Yeah. And he had to kick off. He had to give way. And he honestly said, one of us has to be conscious to come back for the other.
Yeah.
And I went,
That's right.
okay. So I've learned now that he really will take care of me, even if I don't think it's the right thing. I
Yeah.
have to listen and
Yeah.
trust him.
So back on this Huntington Beach story, you run up on the sand and you're all smiles. I'm
Give
standing.
me some popcorn.
Yeah, she's
Mark's
like-
drowning.
She gets up there and the horn goes off in the heat. I'm going like, oh man.
5
We-
minutes left.
Well, we
or it
still
was
did
over.
well. We got a pretty good trophy out of it because we did catch a
I
wave.
do
you
believe
know.
at one
And you do
point
have some
you thought
scars. The best
You know,
trophy of
so-
all.
I think
So-
he thought I drowned at one point, though.
So you run up on the beach and you've got this big grin on your face, and you go, huh? A hunky lifeguard jumped off
Oh,
the
you're
pier to
so
save
evil.
me.
That's evil.
Dude, I
That's
did. But
evil.
before I got to that energy level, I was spending a lot of time just with my
Trying
hands
to-
on my knees, trying not to collapse.
Try not to gurgle.
I actually had to muster all my strength to stand upright and walk
Yeah.
back, and then I got my
Why
breath
is
and it came
Huntington?
back.
Huntington is like my nemesis too. I've had most amazingly bad experiences there, but I'll tell you about when Tellen got her groove back. We were at Huntington Beach, my bride and I, and she and I never.
I got to ask you a question. How long do they stay your bride?
Your whole life, if you keep it right, we keep the.
Does
wine
that mean you have date night on Fridays or?
every night?
Oh,
So,
In Waikiki, it's every night, dude. No, but we were in Huntington Beach. We had never competed together, and I think at that time we were just starting to date. And when you compete, it's a serious training, and you know what he's going to do. If he says one word to you, that's like a whole paragraph of what it means to do, right? So we hadn't done any of that kind of prep, and here Huntington Beach is going off. And not as big as the day you were on, but it was big and closing out. Remember the first event at Huntington Beach?
yes.
We got to thank Guy Takayama for doing that, helping us get that event started. And I said, tell him we're not going to win. So let's just get the biggest wave we can. And Huntington is not a fun, friendly wave.
it's not fun at all.
It's junky, and sometimes it closes out and it's walling up. So let's get the biggest wave we can. So we're waiting out there, and here comes the wave of the day, and I go, let's go for it. And we're paddling. Now, normally when I'm with a trained partner, if I say scoot back, that means grab the rails of the board, don't press down, press in, and push back, because I want to catch the wave. I just don't want to pearl. I don't want my nose of my board to go underwater. Sit back means throw your back against my chest. I'm going to grab your ribs, and we're going to lean way back. We don't want this wave.
You got other rules?
Well, I didn't know what to say to her because she didn't know what. I couldn't tell her a whole paragraph like I just did.
Yeah,
So I said, sit back. And she thought she did not know what I meant, and she's paddling for this wave, and I'm looking back, and it's a closeout.
And she sits up?
And the hook is coming over the top of the wave, and it ends up drilling between Talon and I. And I'm sitting back with the rails of the board trying to muscle her up and out of that wave because I don't want that wave. It's just a closeout. What do you call it, an 8-off? Straight off
8-off.
Straight off 8-off. We got that from Clay Huntington, by the way.
And the beautiful Clay Huntington. We won't call him beautiful. What we should call him? We've already called John Taylor that.
But Clay's a wild and crazy
The
guy.
wild and crazy Clay Huntington. And I think I had borrowed his board that day, and I think I trashed it, actually.
Yeah,
too.
you did. You dented it up pretty bad.
With Talon's head.
Yeah.
No, with the pier as we were paddling out trying to hide behind
Oh, you
pylons.
guys played with the pier too?
Yes. So I'm more than once. But so the wave comes over the lip, goes between me and Talon, and then it's kind of a magical feeling. It's almost like you've been on mushrooms. I've never tried them. It's almost a mushroom experience. And suddenly I'm in the ether. I'm floating, and she's gone. The wave breaks, the leash snaps. I don't even feel the tug. And she's gone in the murky water. We're used to Hawaii, right, where I can look underwater and see where she is. I told her the one thing I won't let you do. I told her I won't let you get hurt.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'll protect you. And I'm swimming. The wave comes over, it crushes me. I'm being like ragdolled. And then I look up, and I'm looking underwater trying to find her. And I'm yelling at the other teams, "Where is she? Where is she?" And they don't. Honestly, that was a sad moment because most tandem teams would come over and help you find your partner. They didn't care. And I'm looking. Where is she? I can't find her. And then finally,
They were trying to survive.
They were probably trying to survive too.
Maybe. But what happened on the beach, from the beach perspective, they see us take this gnarly drop, and 7 seconds later, they see the surfboard shoot out with Talon hanging onto the rails, and they assume I'm behind her. So this great... Right, Shane, you describe it. You were there. Do you remember it? Okay, he's saying
He
no.
was very
Everybody,
young.
he
was
is
filming
shaking his head
So-
right now,
so
going like, "Dad, I don't know what you're
He
talking
knows that
about."
shaking his head doesn't show up on the video, but he's had 2 whiskey shots. So we
I'm
drop it. So
sorry.
she shoots out of this wave, and the whole beach screams like, "They did it! They're the most amazing, godlike people in the world." Where's Bear? So Talon got her groove back, right? She's hanging out of the rails of the board. I think her fingerprints are still denting the board. She shot out of that wave, and it was just like you, right? I'm out there getting drilled by the next wave, by the next wave, by the next wave with a leash. You know the leash cord hanging
Yeah.
onto your ankle?
Yeah.
And there's no board there?
Yeah.
And now I'm swimming in, and I get up to her, and I go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And she goes, this is what she said. Let's go to Disneyland.
No
And she
kidding.
doesn't even know the Super Bowls type thing because she's from Sweden. So, okay, all right. So we get the board. We go in. We give Clay his dented surfboard back.
Yeah.
And we go to Disneyland, and we get there just before it closed. There was, for some reason, they're shutting it early. We closed it. But no, she didn't recover for that for 2 years. We were surfing 1 foot slop in Biarritz, France.
Yeah.
It freaked her out because she's not a water girl, you know. And now she went out and charged the waves today. But that it took her 2 or 3 years to be able to feel safe in the water again.
You know
after
what?
that.
Huntington does that.
Yeah.
To this day, if we go to Huntington, my adrenaline goes up, my heart thumps a little harder. I have a lot of respect for that place.
Well, let me tell you one more story about Huntington, okay? Because I have a lot of bad memories of Huntington Beach, but I'll tell you one you will appreciate.
Was that on the streets of Huntington or
No,
in the water?
in the water. No, Huntington has my number, dude. It's my least favorite place. But I'll tell you something you will love. Do you remember Huntington Beach when they would have the massage school down?
Yes.
Okay, tell me, why are you laughing?
Oh my God.
Why are you, so they got
Massage.
You remember they would
school?
come down, right?
No.
Okay, they have massage school.
I'm a peer rat from
All
Huntington.
right, so
I grew up
but I
on
mean,
that
I'm talking
thing.
about during the contest.
Huh?
You could go between heats and they give this massage school. Give
Oh
you a
yes,
massage.
at the OP Pro they had
Okay,
it. Yeah.
yep.
That's where we met Pamela Anderson.
Okay. your wife knocks her off the planet, okay? The beautiful Debbie Gale knocks her off the planet.
She was very involved with surfing at the time, and
I
so she was doing announcing and everything. So she
Debbie
was a big,
Gale knocks her off.
She
the
was a
My wife does
big
too.
proponent.
But let me tell you what happened at the massage table.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to know what happened at the massage table.
Okay, you're gonna love that. There's a certain gentleman, tandem surfer, laying on the beach who we used to call Fabio.
Oh gosh.
And he's getting this massage from this girl.
Yeah.
And I motioned her away because he's laying on his stomach, right? And I started doing this sensuous massage on Bobby. And finally he looks up and like, what's going on? And it's me. And he's like, oh! He wanted to throw up. He put his fingers in his mouth.
Oh my gosh.
That's probably best not said.
And
you know what?
Was it your board that Bobby waxed with a bar of soap?
Oh, you know that story.
Yeah.
That was a cruel, unusual thing that he did.
That's great payback for what you did.
I
You
know,
waxed
maybe
your
that was why
surfboard
he
with
did
a
it.
bar
He
of
had
soap.
Okay, but the week before that, okay, I go over to Bobby's house, and he says, taste some of this, and I'm reaching and I'm eating this kind of peppers.
I can't.
And I'm eating this, like, this doesn't taste good at all. And they go, oh, you got something in your eye. So then I rub my eye. You know Bobby, right?
Bobby.
A hot pepper sauce. I can't see out of my eye for 3 days. Just swollen up. And then Bobby he's so nice. He says, look, let me take your board and do some ding repair for you.
Yeah.
Takes the board, and I'm coming over to his house, and it's beautiful. You cleaned up the ding repair, and now you waxed my board fresh, and you did a nice bead on it, which I'm not good at all, but a beautiful bead of wax on it. And then I take it, and he's on the Nahoku, which, by the way, the catamaran out here means no refund. He's sailing out of the Nahoku with this beautiful girl, probably Tiare or someone. He's paddling out, and I'm at the same moment I'm putting the girl on my board, which is freshly waxed. I don't really realize it's zest.
It smelled good, didn't it?
And it smelled good.
Yeah.
It didn't have that pina colada smell.
Yeah.
Didn't have the coconut smell. And she gets on the board and slides off, and the water's full of bubbles. And I look at him as he's sailing off into the sunset. It took me an hour to get sand and just rub that off, and then I had to go to ABC store, and they didn't have wax with the other ABC store. They didn't have wax with the other ABC store. Got wax, waxed it up, and it's too dark to go out and surf with my partner. So.
You didn't try with the soap?
That is so good.
Believe me, I can tell you others. I did get my paybacks, but that's for another episode.
Yeah.
Shane,
on that bombshell.
do we have to close? Do we have to end it?
So we never got
Yeah,
to
we
talk
gotta-
about any of the other stuff.
Yeah, so we got to come back then, you guys. Can you come? You guys going to be here in Waikiki for 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while longer.
You
know.
guys live over here at the Bamboo half the year over here. You spend a lot of time in Waikiki.
We would like to be over here, more. Definitely.
Well, I know there's certain Toothless Guy out here in Queens loves to see you guys paddle out.
There's a couple guys out there.
They got his teeth. He did get his teeth fixed.
I just wanted to thank the editors of Honor.com for doing a really good job on sponsoring our podcast. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, we love our Honor. And you know you're going to try it, and then you're going to beat me all the time. But aren't you glad I'm kind of semi-retired? You don't really care, really.
I think
He's got
the
my
gauntlet has
Hey,
been
you know what that
thrown
is? You know what
again.
that is, Mark? That's another podcast. Let's
See,
talk about that next
if
podcast.
if I retire, Rico's in trouble.
Yeah, he won't have any worthy opponent.
No, I'll be able to go exercise.
You know what the greatest compliment you give someone is you have to have great competitors to be great. And I think Mark and Debbie and me and my numerous partners, you guys have always been the ones to beat as far as I'm concerned. And so it's a blessing to have you on the podcast. Hopefully we can get you guys back before you guys leave Waikiki in a couple of weeks. Hey, Shane, what do you think about this podcast?
This podcast is great, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
It's one of the best ones we've ever done. And we didn't even get into the fun stuff.
Well, and all those tandem teams want you and I to talk about a few things.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Those arrows in your back?
Yeah. I like those arrows. I look like a beautiful. What do you call that? Not the palette. What do you call the thing with the big? Not an ostrich. What do you call it?
You mean like the feathers in the chief's cap?
No, the kind where the big. Not what do you call that bird that has the big feathers?
A peacock.
Yeah, I'm the pea and peacock.
You're something, but that ain't it.
We love Mike and Debbie. Thank you so much for your true friendship.
Thank you for having us
And
here.
we love you guys so much.
We love you being here. Thank you
Okay, aloha.
Aloha. The wave always leads.
Yeah, it's all about the wave.